drink or anything?
I don't know.
Outtakes.
I feel like I'm out of it. I feel like I'm out of the shot.
Out of it, yeah. You're
Get
out
my
of
shoulders out of here. Come back to the pad, maybe. Oh. Try to get the framing right. Huh. Like the smallest bit off. There you go. Hey, we're there.
Testing, 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 testing the voice.
Yeah. I don't know if we're here or not. Guess we're live.
We're live. We're live.
This is how it works.
3, 2, 1. The Crazy Picker Life with Wheeler, Dealer, and Banana Peeler. Welcome, fellow pickers and would-be adventurers. I'm Dealer.
And I'm Wheeler. And we're here.
And this is the long form question, answer, comment, observation marathon.
Yeah, marathon. 3-hour marathon's pretty good, isn't it? Or is it 2 hours everybody's trying to break? I guess 3 hours is still pretty good, though.
3-hour marathon's pretty good, yeah. If we kept it down at 2 hours, that's what everybody's chasing. 26 miles.
It's like the 4-minute mile equivalent of the marathon.
No, well,
I mean, as far as people chasing it,
yeah,
not the speed.
Maybe in your lifetime they'll break the 2-hour marathon.
Yeah, 4-minute mile marathon. Pace.
Okay, so we are the Crazy Picker Life duo. We have other people in our family business that are not present in the question and answer, though, but we may talk about them.
Yeah.
We run a full-time, all-out eBay and Amazon, some Amazon.
Yep.
Buying and selling business, heavily weighted in the vintage camera area. We buy, not all over the United States, but we've probably bought things in 15 to 20 different states. We sell in the United States, Canada, South America, all over the world. Probably have shipped to a little over 100 different countries.
Yeah.
We average, somewhere around 500-600 packages out per month. And what else?
I don't know. That's about it. Nearly coast-to-coast pickers, not quite.
So we're a family picking business. We're a close-knit family. I have 6 children, my wife. We don't all work in the business at all times. We do homeschool. We're a pretty close-knit family. We have been buying and selling on eBay together for probably 7 years.
Yeah, right around there. Maybe 8. I mean, the eBay channel, I think, started up in 2010 or 2011. So, probably 8.
And before that, I've been on eBay since 1999. Every once in a while, we do a question and answer show like this.
Yep.
And what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll print all the questions and comments that I think we can answer on the show. I do leave a few behind for various reasons. I do try to bring most of them, and we're going to try to answer them honestly, straightforward, with some fun and action shots.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
We don't
got some practical effects, no special effects here.
We don't want this to be too painful. The disclaimer is this is how we do things. This is our answers. What you should do should be your decision. We do not give any advice that we guarantee.
Yeah.
Results may vary.
There you go. That's a good one.
We had a real good disclaimer on our last long video. And we're not going to try to repeat that.
Forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get in one of these videos.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little loopy maybe towards the middle or end of it.
If you don't want to see the raw, crazy picker life, don't watch this video.
I do sort of a daily vlog, although it's more evolved into probably 3, 4, 5 times per week. And then sometimes I take breaks. Currently, I think this is video 343.
Yeah.
Before that, we did a 20 video series, and before that, we did 100 videos too that are lost in space somewhere.
Yep.
probably archived somewhere with the, dare I say, NSA.
In the mainframe.
Google, Facebook, who knows? One of those places probably has our old $1 to 50K videos.
Probably go picking one day, buy a mainframe, and there are all the old videos. Who knows?
That might be the way to do it.
That'd be quite a deal. About 30 years from now, if you found all the old videos on some random whatever.
Will be declassified.
There you go.
Well, you can bring them to me. I probably won't be in the old folks' home. I'll probably own it. That'll probably be my picking joint.
That's a good idea, yeah. Well, there you go. Buy an old folks' home so you can live in there.
Right.
There you go. That could be your, like, your storage, your office, and everything. That'd
right.
be great.
Right.
So get like a big old school. Let's just go old folks' home.
Right. So, let's just get started.
Yeah.
Now, before I do, it is customary to have something on hand if you need it. This is a Friday night. This is a relaxing day. This is my first beer all week. I did some sort of a cleanse fast all week, and we'll see.
You're all cleansed out now, right?
This is from Kona Brewing, Wailua wheat. I don't know.
Wailua?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some Hawaiian pronunciations are actually really complicated.
It actually, I had one of these a couple weeks ago or last week. It's kind of like a fruity tea. It's not what I expected.
Iced tea beer. It's interesting, yeah.
But it will do. It's a sipping beer. That's what we're doing here.
That's what we're looking for.
Okay, so I've got questions. Lots of them. Thank you for submitting questions and comments. Maybe after the show's over, I'll think differently.
Quite a few pages there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of mood I'm in. How about you? How you been?
I don't know.
How you been, Wheeler?
Pretty good. A little bit kind of an odd spiral, out of control week, but coming back. I mean, that's just how it is. Momentum's a little bit tough.
The ups and downs of momentum.
That's
well,
pretty much it.
We should mention we have been in a 90-day crazy momentum in-house, meaning our contest with ourselves to try to reach a certain listing goal.
Yep.
And a certain number of items listed. We're not going to reach our goal, but, and we'll talk about that a little bit in here.
Sure.
We've got momentum, that's for sure.
That's it.
When we started, sales felt flat. Now they feel steady or better most days.
Yeah.
Today, Friday, I took in 21 sales, and we've got 5 or 6 as of 8 p.m. Oop, I was going to start my watch. 8 p.m. in the hopper. So, you know, momentum is, it's great to set goals with numbers. You try to reach those. The numbers are not as important as the result.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't put numbers, if you don't put a direction, how the heck are you going to know where you're going?
Oh, that's it. It's good to have the milestones or whatever. I mean, you can see what's going on there.
Okay, so there's really no format here. I'm going to read the question. We're going to try to put ourselves in the frame of mind of where the question is coming from. We're going to add our comments, and then when this whole thing is done and everybody that has watched it digests it, feel free to make comments on our comments.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, some of these are already from that. So
you can answer our questions to your questions at the end of it.
Yeah, it just could spiral to endless question and answer
We could have a
sessions.
Q&A. They could have a Q&A of our questions to their questions, and we could have a Q&A answering the questions to our questions. Like,
I don't think that fits into pick well list often.
I don't know.
Okay, number 1 here. The hot potato process takes the stress out a bit with some of the variety of questions that can come through with information for details, special requests, pricing or returns, etc. Now I think, oh boy, hot potato, when I get these questions, and the humor behind it lightens things up for me.
That's great. Hot potato is translating to other people's businesses.
Yes. So we're a 3.5 person shop.
Yep.
Give or take. I mean, we've got 5 people directly involved in the business, and then all my kids and Lon, my wife, directly, indirectly are involved in making this thing work. Questions come in, we need to distribute them to the right people. Now, mostly the technical questions go to Wheeler. and Wheeler gets in a vibe with his items.
Yeah.
And so how do we reach Wheeler?
Exactly. Well, I think part of the problem too is that like a lot of the questions you actually need the physical item to answer the question, and I mean I'm not quite as in tune with the whole inventory system as some of the other guys here, namely Banana Peeler and Dealer, obviously.
Well, we've removed you from the day-to-day handling of inventory, mainly because we need you with your expertise listing.
So I can find something, but I bet Banana Peeler can find it 5 times faster in a lot of cases.
So a question comes in, and I print the question, and I either go get the item and throw it in a tote along with the question and bring it to Wheeler, or I give it to Banana Peeler, my son, and he comes down and finds the item and brings it to Wheeler. Wheeler gets the item. It's a hot potato. We want that thing answered.
Around. Yeah.
And we want it answered and then brought back to my desk.
Questions answered promptly make the sale.
They do. We had 3 or 4 this week that became sales.
I wonder if there is a percentage, like between how many questions we get in that are actual questions, not just random whatever, and how many sales we get out of that. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably like 30% or something result in sales, at least. I mean, some are more, some more than others.
I would say that, and then there are some comments or questions that come in that help us sharpen the listings.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
With vintage camera stuff and only like 100,000 different variations.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, if you're gonna.
And it's hard to figure everything out.
Yep, always learning, even after 7-8 years.
Yeah, and that's coming from a young guy. Imagine.
Who's immersed in it, pretty much.
Imagine. So here's part of why I put this question down, or this comment down about the hot potato. I'm actually thinking of taking the item and heating it up.
There you go.
And then putting it in your hands and watching you realize it's hot. I got to get it.
Yeah, get a blowtorch to it.
I'm only kidding, Wheeler, because this week I brought you hot potatoes and they never came back.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this week was kind of a weird week, so it's coming back.
I sure hope that the hot potato doesn't have to be accelerated to like a mashed potato.
No, what do they call that? Your house is burning down potato. I mean, like what could be more urgent than a hot potato? You gotta think of it a little bit.
Potato guns I could fire at you.
Yeah.
Merchant fulfilled, MF, is when you store the items at your house and you ship them. FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, is when you ship to Amazon and they ship for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I talk about things and use acronyms in the show, I'm on the fly. This show is so unscripted. It's not even funny.
You actually have a script?
Well,
it's so unscripted.
Here's something else too.
Yeah.
I mean, if my shows average 20 minutes, just for ha-ha's sake, my average show is probably 20 minutes and 13 seconds.
Yeah.
I probably trim 13 seconds average off the show, so I don't cut anything out. I don't like make a mistake, cut it out, put it in with like an insert.
Not every single word is a jump cut.
Yeah. So I probably did get that wrong. Now, there are other questions that have come through on the advantages of Amazon merchant fulfilled versus FBA. And I think each person and each product line, I think you have to examine how you want to handle it to make the best decision. It's tough.
Yeah.
For me personally, we don't actually do a lot on Amazon.
Yep.
I mean, percentage-wise, Amazon
That's what I was gonna say, percentage-wise, yeah.
is less than 10% of our business, probably less than 5%. But I have been working in inventory control, packing departments, sending orders since I was in college.
Yeah.
And so it's been like 30 some years. I feel more comfortable having the orders and shipping the orders. I don't even like doing it.
It's the craziest thing. Some of these people on Amazon you see selling these camera sets and they sell those FBA. It's just like, dude, how do you do that? It's just crazy. Well, you have it all packaged up, all ready to go, I guess. But
some of our stuff we like to answer questions on, and I don't want to get real into that question. I have never considered really doing it. Now, if you have a pallet of the same items, or if you have some kind of item that's durable And it makes sense to do it, even if you have something that doesn't make sense that you want to do it. I mean, that's fine. We just don't do it.
Yeah, it seems a bit detached from our whole hands-on approach.
Yeah,
a little different.
I know you guys like to price initially higher and then put on a sale 15 days later, but I was just wondering if it's worth making a promoted listing between, say, the 7th and 14th day of the listing and giving the percentage discount as promotion fee to eBay and let them try to sell it sooner for you at the price you would accept from day 15. It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I'm not sure I fully understand it, but right now with the promotion manager, there's like 4 or 5 different things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
They also added this box recently at the bottom where you can become a promoted listing. I'm not sure I even understand that 100%.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's a pretty new, what do they call it? It came online pretty recently, so I don't know if they haven't figured it out. If we haven't figured it out, who knows? It's pretty...
The biggest thing that's changed for us in the way we run promotions, I like to run my items on sale often.
Mm-hmm.
On sale, off sale, on sale, off sale, on sale, off sale. That's what I like to do. I like to offer a small percentage, like say 11%, 13%, 15%. I like to offer that people to get them off the fence.
Yeah.
I like decision making. I like it when items end. I like it when items start. I like repricing them downwards as they age a little bit. I like to get action out of people.
Mm-hmm.
And change on a sale is action. If you go shopping at a store and every time you go by the window, if you're walking down Main Street, it looks the same, and every time you go into the store, everything's the same, everybody's dressed the same, everything's in the same place, you don't feel any reason to go in there because you've seen it all.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You need stuff spinning, you need stuff changing, you need stuff blinking, you need a new message, you need a new commercial. You need, I've got a store in the area here. Every time I go in there, everything's all over. Now it's not like Walmart. If I go into Walmart or my grocery store, I want things where they should be.
Yeah.
I don't like change when it's something like that. But if you want me to look at your new stuff, you better move it around.
Mm-hmm.
So here's our strategy. We sell mostly what I would call unique items,
mm-hmm.
niche items.
Yeah.
We do not sell a lot of commodities. We do not sell a lot of items where there's 100 listings for the same item or 1,000 listings.
Yeah.
We don't sell a lot of Apple TVs.
Yeah.
You used to be able to buy an Apple TV, put it online, and it would sell within 5 minutes because there was such a supply and demand.
Oh yeah. It's been the same with a couple different things like that before.
You could price it within, $1 off the lead and it wouldn't sell. You price it right there at the thing and bam, 6 minutes later it's sold.
Yep.
We don't sell a lot of items like that, so we don't price outside the norm so much as we price our items at the top side of the value for the condition it's in.
Yeah. After so long, I feel like I'm really good at just coming up with a price and put it on there, but I can imagine for somebody who's starting out, I mean, the way I price items is kind of out there. I mean, half the stuff, if I looked at it from an outside perspective, I have no clue what it should be priced at or going for. I just have enough experience where I could just slap a price on it and it'll probably sell.
And I will say this, the reason I developed my sales strategy initially was because he used to price things too high.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I've always been optimistic, and when I was a little kid, obviously. So.
Right. Yeah, you're eternally optimistic,
mm-hmm.
and it goes through with your pricing.
Mm-hmm.
But I took care of that in our strategy. Our strategy is to put things on sale, off sale, on sale, off sale, and then I lower the price of them over time.
Yep.
So
exactly.
it gets rid of them.
Yep.
So, I don't know about all this stuff. I do not analyze things like this to death. What I do is I find something that works, more or less, tweak it maybe a little bit, and then I just ride it and go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And long ago, I put in the whole idea of putting things on sale, off sale, on sale, off sale. How many days do I list things? A lot of times I'll time it, where if it's Friday, I might start a sale on Friday whenever I start it, and then I think to myself, all right, when am I going to want to pack these orders? When am I going to want this sale to end? Well, I don't necessarily want it to end Monday morning. I'll run it till Monday at noon. That way, if a bunch of orders come in the morning and I'm already swamped, I could take them to the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think of some of these things when I want to end the sale to get them all done. So, I mean, I can't really, off the top of my head, necessarily articulate all those different things. And for me, it really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Our whole thing is just this big wad of products, and we just keep listing them and relisting them and offering them and what inefficiencies are there. And if we give things away once in a while, or if we give a discount once in a while, we make it up somewhere else, and it just doesn't matter. I don't sit there and lose sleep over it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if that answers everything. There are tools on eBay right now that are fairly exciting. If you come from a retail world there and some other higher end websites and things like that, there are some tools on there that are pretty cool. I mean, you can give out coupons and you can do all these different things, and I think some of them would work. I also like to just keep it simple.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, there's a balance between being complicated and whatever and just keeping it simple. I mean, you can go both ways. You can be successful both ways. I mean, it's up to you. Which way you want to go with it.
One thing to remember in this business is there is no right way. I mean, if you find something that works, that's the right way. If you find something that works within your confines of skill and time and energy and all those things, that's the right way. Sometimes people are not as skilled in one area and they're more skilled in another. Maybe they don't make as much per item, so they have to work an extra half hour. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can work this system.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The other thing to be concerned about is there are all kinds of shops out there. If you're a one-person shop, you definitely have to decide where to put your energy.
Yep.
Because you could have 10 items listed and you could have this beautiful coupon display and all these different tables worked out on how you're going to discount this and all that. The person next to you that doesn't have any of that but lists 200 items a week is going to crush you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is we run into those kind of people even to like the more simple side of things there. I mean, there's people who list stuff way simpler than we list stuff. I mean, we list stuff in a fairly complicated way, and they'll list it even simpler than that, and obviously have a different business practice.
Right, and both
thing to do.
Both can be right.
Oh yeah.
So
yep.
There's really no right answer. I like to keep things relatively simple. I do recognize a lot of the tools and a lot of the things out there. Being a 2-3 person shop like we are, we do what we can do. If we had 10 people, it might pay to do a little bit more of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you had a manager who's going to take care of all this stuff, and yeah, it could work.
When you get to that kind of size, it's good to have somebody running things that does some sort of analysis on that. Where should people spend their time? Where are we deficient in? All those kind of things.
Pause.
Guess it paused itself.
Paused itself. I was waiting for the pause.
We're not doing very good. 3 questions in, 20 minutes. All right.
10 minutes a question. Where we got at that
I had
pace.
the bold clicked on one of my listings on Sunday. I didn't notice it was $4. In my case, until the listing was completed. I feel this is very sneaky. A lot of people miss it. And then we've had, I've had the same problem with listing upgrades. eBay runs a special where they're free and then it stays on the listing after the special. This can be costly, especially with automatically updating. Thanks for another great video. So eBay has an ever-changing layout with boxes and things you can click for upgrades that cost money, may cost money, don't cost money. The latest thing is this promoted listing, which we may talk a little bit about in a general sense. over the years, none of that has changed. And as they do their different interfaces, and even within, we have 4 main eBay channels right now.
Yeah.
Within our 4 channels, I would say there's differences within each one. Like, we have different versions.
Yeah, we have the Selling Manager Pro on one. We have the listing type on this one, listing different type on this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all like that.
So some auditing of your charges, I think, is wise once in a while. I think the best thing I've found is when you're listing items, and this is just my personal thing, is obviously be paying attention and be present enough while you're listing them. When the charge comes up at the end, whatever that is, if it's 0 because you've got a store listing, or one of my channels, it's like 35 cents right now per listing, make sure it's not a lot more than that, or check it out, check what's listed. So if it comes up like $4.35, you know you need to go back. And occasionally you're going to get clicky fingers and miss something. Sometimes when I relist items, I'm paying special attention, and sometimes I'm not. And eBay does have certain things that for whatever reason seem to click and stick, and you can end up paying a few bucks here and there.
Yeah. In the case of the bold thing, I made kind of a, 3-4 minute rant on that one time, because basically the bold thing, there's a little checkbox here, and then there's all this text to the right of it talking about what the bold thing does. You click anywhere on that text, anywhere in the checkbox, it'll select the box for it. I mean, it's obviously meant, intentionally or not, to kind of trick you in some ways. I mean, if you're trying to copy your listing title and then paste it into the body of the listing, you'll accidentally click that sometimes and whatever. I've only done it once where it actually went through, but that was on a $160 thing and ended up costing like $7. So
yeah,
that was pretty ridiculous.
So the best advice I can have, if you discover that you're paying extra charges and things like that, I mean, you can spend time calling eBay, and you may get some, you may get a mulligan.
Yeah.
They may, I have to admit, the last time I called eBay on something, it's been years.
Yeah.
I just end it wherever I find it. I shake my head a couple times.
And know the issue's there, pay more attention next time.
And I go on.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the size of our business. I mean, the fees I pay per month, it's a few $1,000s a month. And so $10 here, $20 there, it adds up. But it's not worth my time.
Yeah.
So there's some frustration with anything online. And if you've ever done coding or anything like that, there's frustrations all the time. If you've ever really used a particular website or anything, there's always going to be glitches.
Yep.
It's part of the thing. Now, take that and shove it all aside. If you're running a physical store, you always got problems there too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one day the garbage truck comes in front of your store and parks there and blasts diesel right into your front way. The next time some weirdo walks down the road and decides that he's going to flash everybody that comes in front of your store, or he's going to come in and waste your time. I mean, there's crazy stuff.
There's all this stuff that happens, yeah.
And so if you find yourself getting too stressed out by this stuff all the time, you got to realize that it's par for the course.
It's the cost of doing business, as they say.
Nip it in the buds, figure it out, and then get into something that can make yourself money. And we brought it up. That's why people started commenting. So I'm not saying don't comment about it, don't be annoyed by it, but don't let it rule you.
Yeah.
How much is that paper banana peeler is packing with? I use cheaper sheets that are 7 cents for a 2x2. When you buy them in bulk, the stuff you're using looks pricey, and that's when I put that funny face on there. I did, for the first time in my life, this behind me, I calculated it, and actually we came in pretty close to what the comment was.
Yeah, Uline is pretty good, I think, in bulk.
Well, in bulk, and if you get some of the perks and you use some of the coupons, And if you factor in, we've got no other choice out here other than buy some stuff from Walmart or use recycled, which has some disadvantages.
After 3 or 4 years, we finally got this fancy paper ripper thing over here, so I guess that could add to the cost looking of it.
You know, here's what I would do. I tend to trim costs on the fly, but if I was to be more organized about it, I would pick one full day per year, and I'd say today is figure out how to reduce cost day. And stop your business. Realize first how much that's costing you to stop your business for a day, and spend the whole day locked in your office with the sole reason of reducing your costs.
Yeah, exactly.
First thing I would do, I'd brainstorm for an hour. Where are my big costs? What are some of the things I can look at? Then organize that, start going at it, see if you can reduce the costs. I bet you can, double your rate of return at least on that day. But once I get something installed, I go with it and beat it into the ground, and on the fly I try to keep my eye on costs and things like that. I don't stress over that too much.
I mean, certain things you can't help, and certain things you do have to keep an eye on though. Like these microfiber cloths we use for cleaning lenses recently went from like $3 for 20 to $20 for 20. So I mean, certain things like that. I mean, you can't help them, but
on the fly,
gotta be paying attention.
I remember you verbalizing that, and then you said, I said, we said, well, let's look for some other ones.
Yep.
Let's figure something else
we tried
out.
a couple other ones, and I mean, we just ended up going for the $20 ones because I mean, they're what we need, but it's how it works.
How do Wheeler and Dealer divide the sales and the money made on eBay?
I don't know. We do.
Well, first of all, that's kind of a personal question.
Yeah.
But secondly, I answered this one. I'm just bringing it up here. I said Dealer, that's me. By the way, some people call me Wheeler.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that, and some people call me Dealer. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm Dealer. I'm the business owner, by the way. And I don't mean that in a pompous, weird way, but I'm the business owner, and Wheeler is my subcontractor, and I pay him. So, that contract, and we do have a contract, is between Wheeler and I. It's, if you want to look at that as a split, that's fine. At some point, Wheeler could be partial or all owner of the business, or you could run your own business.
Oh yeah, yep.
And there's advantages to both, and so that's just how it is.
Yep.
You have anything else?
No, it is a pretty personal question. I mean, it's hard to answer too. At the same time.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I always hate those "what do you make in a year" questions, whatever.
Well, people shouldn't.
There's a lot more factors than.
There is. I mean, who doesn't want to make more money? Who doesn't want to value themselves higher? If you want to make more money, all you got to do is grow in value.
Exactly.
So if I want to make more money, I have to grow. I have to grow my value. There's no in our business. I think everybody that's involved is compensated well. There's always room for improvement, and nobody's getting rich.
Yeah.
No, there's
not unless we find the one thing.
There's no slave and master, and there's no.
We've talked about it before. There's no free lunch. This isn't the lottery or whatever. I mean, there's something for nothing, quick riches, whatever.
Right.
It's not this business.
Right. I've given you a path to make more than I made when I was working in the real world. So,
oh yeah,
you're I've already showed. Let me put it this way: I've showed Wheeler how he'll make it as much as he wants.
Yeah,
if he's willing, if you're willing to pay the price. Now, there's a price to pay. So some people are comfortable at different things, and it's not about working 90 hours a week.
Yeah,
I don't want to work 90 hours a week. I don't want Wheeler to work 90 hours a week.
Yep.
There is a smarter thing. So, anyway, I don't even know why I bring those things up.
Yeah.
Hi, Wheeler and Dealer. I'm a new sub. I've listened to all your 2 to 3 hour Q&As, mainly while listing or packing. I love them. Please make more.
Woo!
Here we are again. Although I've been struggling with finding balance with selling and hobbies, how long did it take you guys to iron that out?
Well, I mean, I still don't have quite the selling versus hobbies thing ironed out, but that's just me.
I don't know. My day is one big rambling mess.
It's like the crazy spinning thing.
It really is. And so the only way I can iron it out is I actually plan breaks, I plan activities, I schedule things with my wife, I schedule dates, I schedule vacations, I have cutoff times that I put in my head, I get plenty of sleep.
Yep.
So do I have balance? Yes, but it's my own way to get it, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know, we could each answer that question for a while. We work together, we live in the same house, we're father and son, but we live in 100% different worlds as far as responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
You're at a much different point in your life than I am.
Yep.
And I'm over the hill.
Yep.
We have 30 years of age difference.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And of course, you know, I've got different responsibilities than you do. So, you know, there's always, I think, going to be a struggle, especially if you're running your own business. Plan time off. Plan time for your hobbies. I'm a big believer of work first, play later.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, from my view, and you can defend yourself if you feel like it, I think Wheeler likes to intermix all that stuff a lot more.
I like the idea of work first, play later, but I'm really bad at it. That's all I'll say. Because I'm like, oh, I should work first, play later. Oh, but this play is right here. I'm running through that quick.
I have more bills than you, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll eventually find it. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to work
I have
towards
a little
it
more.
too.
I have a little more reality under my rear end, I think.
Yeah.
Here's a nice one.
Mm.
Crack the whip on Wheeler, and you will have those totes paid off in no time.
Woo!
Correct. So,
Crack my own whip.
well, I mean, I think I'm going to lay it out.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working together, let's say 8 years, right?
Yeah.
I think when you started working in this business, for you and for me, it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed having a business partner. I enjoyed that you were interested in the business. You probably would have worked the business without doing anything else 24 hours a day if I would have encouraged it or let you.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you found some other things you wanted to do. We made you do your homework.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we have always had other hobbies and interests. It's not like all we do is business.
Yeah.
But there was a point where I had to crack the whip a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I had to be like, hey, Wheeler, look, you know, we gotta hit our numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we designed a plan where you can earn as much money as you want, and you can gauge what you want to do.
Yep.
Now, I still have my goals and my numbers to make, and you have some goals and numbers to make. And so we communicate on those. And if I'm having a bad day, it comes back to haunt me, and you might even say something. If you're having a bad day and the numbers don't look good, I definitely sometimes say something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's evolved into more your responsibility than ever.
Yeah. Exactly.
For your numbers.
Exactly. And you're pretty lenient with me early on with all the mistakes and stuff I was making, learning the whole thing. I mean, it was not a streamlined little road right up to the pinnacle, right?
Yeah, so I would consider you a vintage camera expert.
Mm-hmm.
And to get there was not an easy road.
No. That's what we were talking about, like how I used to price stuff high, and I mean, just a lot of stuff like that. I mean,
you took
thinking more realistic.
170 pictures of an item.
Yeah. Well, I'm a photographer first and a lister second.
Oh, so. Yeah. So
I mean, that was the initial.
So, you know,
thing.
I think it's more. I have helped in a sense to shape your understanding of what needs to be done.
Yep.
And whether you do that or not, that's going to be up to you. Would I like, you know, in a perfect world, would I like, you know, 30 items listed a day, da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Would I like you to get out and get some fresh sunshine every day? Whatever. You got to do all that. Would you say you have a lot of freedom?
Yeah, I have a lot of freedom.
He has a lot of freedom. He has a lot. I've been in all types of jobs. Wheeler has a lot more freedom than anybody should. I'm a little afraid of that sometimes if you actually have to go into the real world. I don't know. People have said, you should go in the real world, Wheeler.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been talking about that since I was like 14, and now it's a little bit late, but yeah, whatever.
It's never too late.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd like to dig some ditches and stuff. I'm going to chop down a tree tomorrow. That'll be fun.
So when are we going to get these totes paid off, by the way?
I don't know.
It's $1,100. Actually, yeah. I operate on a net 30 with that account, which means I have 30 days to pay the bill. I just paid it. It just cashed yesterday.
Yeah.
So I guess I must have whipped you.
Woo!
Right along with that, you are so lucky to have Wheeler. He works hard, but he still is a teenager and needs to have fun.
Barely a teenager anymore.
No kidding.
I can't believe it. I'm coming out of that pretty soon. That's
coming
ridiculous.
on the double digits.
That's insane.
20.
Well, not double digits, but two decades, I guess. Whatever that is.
Pretty soon, if we keep doing this, you'll actually be able to have a beer on the show.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be
legally.
That'd be great.
Yeah. People say, how come Wheeler doesn't get a beer?
Well,
I mean, what do you want?
Want the police to come knocking?
You want me to get naked with my wife on here too? I mean, what do you want? We don't do everything on the damn show here. Okay, it's a family show. Watch out.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, not happening. Okay, so yeah, I am lucky to have Wheeler. He's lucky to have me too.
Yep.
I'm not trying to say anything. We have different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
We have different skill sets. I am a generalist. I'm an entrepreneur. I can see it through on a whole scale, and that is only learned through perseverance and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you've picked up on a lot of that.
Yeah.
And some people, I have done this too, really are good at certain technical things, and you have a knack and interest in cameras until it drives you crazy, and then you have to take a break. But so we have different skill sets. I don't know if Wheeler wants to be the full entrepreneur, and it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of funny though. Like you look at our base views on everything, you look at the big picture, and I'm over here looking through a microscope. I mean, it's so different in some cases. It's kind of funny. It's hard to mesh exactly, but it's complementary in a lot of ways.
And Wheeler needs to have fun. Well, yeah.
I don't have any fun. I don't do anything. I don't have like 50 hobbies.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, some of my best memories as a kid were some of the things that I did that were work. And some of the fun things from when I was a kid that would be labeled as a kid just having fun and out there, I just shake my head when I'm older. So I guess it's all perspective. I don't know. We have a whole different base with our family than I did growing up.
Yeah.
And, you know, who's to say?
Yep.
Who's to say what's fun? I mean, we have fun in business, we have fun traveling, we have fun running. Wheeler does 2 or 3 hobbies all the time.
Yep.
You know, whatever.
Yep, exactly.
So, judge this relationship at your own risk. You don't see it all.
Yep. You get the window, you get to see through this little lens. I mean, what do they call it? There's some sayings like that.
And I don't know about you, Wheeler, but out of everything I do, I think there are family things that are fun, and there are things with my wife that are rewarding and fun, the relationship and watching the kids grow and all that kind of stuff. But I think out of everything we do, there's 2 things that stick out for me that are fun, and one of them is picking.
Yeah.
Out picking. You know, just you're out for the whole day, you don't know where you're going to end up, you got some money, you're looking for some stuff. Those are the fun days.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I don't think I found too much that's keeps me coming back. That's it.
Picking all day, look at your scores at night, hanging out. I mean, it's a pretty fun.
It is
thing.
it is pretty fun.
Yep.
And we get some of the younger boys involved in that. It's a family outing. You know, a lot of times you're out in the weather. That's kind of fun.
Yep.
The other thing is training and running, and then hitting a race and having a fun race.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, I don't know.
Yep.
You probably don't have any fun.
No, never. I never have any fun. I'm just like,
and we all know if we're old guys like me, what kid fun was like in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Some things have changed and some things haven't, but whatever.
Yeah.
I also didn't have a strong Christian background when I was a kid, and we have a different background with our family, with the homeschool and the Christian background. So
yep.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. You have talked previously about being in air purifiers. I've never talked about being inside an air purifier.
No, it's kind of weird. I mean, like, there's some of these big old cameras you can walk inside, but that's kind of weird.
You have talked previously about being into air purifiers, then test strips, then watches, now cameras. Any guess as to what would be the next evolution?
I think it's a little bit more crossover than just cut and dry. Here we are. But
well,
yeah.
I get the question.
Yeah, I get it.
And belt buckles, and beer signs, and models, RC cars.
Yeah.
Da. Well,
buy what we can find.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is we've stumbled into certain things, and some of it was, racking my brain and saying, all right, what's available? How do I get it? Can I make money on it? Is there a big enough market here for me to make a living? Does it drive me crazy, or can I do it? So, you have to ask yourself those questions when you're looking for a new market. A lot of generalists go out and buy what is available. I think there is some value in breaking free from that and finding some niches that you can become a specialist, because I think there's some leverage in that.
Yeah, and if you could try and do some of both, I mean, that could be the best of both worlds. You'll never get bored then if you're doing a lot of different stuff.
Right. So I might buy, who knows what I might buy.
Well, I was going to say, at the flea market, at like one of these places where you buy like 10 printers, a joystick, a model car. I mean, you buy speakers, I mean, everything. I mean, we just buy all kinds of random stuff. Who knows?
So what's next, I guess, was the question.
Yeah.
I've looked at bicycles. I've looked at cars and car parts. I've looked at tumbleweeds. That was sort of a dead end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have anything cocked up. I don't have anything right now in the hopper. At one point, I thought maybe beer signs and beer memorabilia, because I like the history behind the breweries. I like the struggle of those entrepreneurs. I kind of like the advertising, and the whole idea behind drinking beer is kind of foolish yet festive, and so the advertising sort of has to grab people, trick people to get them into that whole thing. So it's fun and festive, but it's a crowded market, and it really is it would take me from coast to coast to do really well on it, I think. And
yeah.
So sometimes I'll explore markets like that, and I'll find that there's not as much leverage or not as much interest as there initially were in that. And at this point, because of several factors, I think we're going to ride cameras into the sunset and expand on that. And then on the other side of that is just keep my feelers out and buy and sell whatever comes our way.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen how many cameras we have in stock, and how
oh my gosh,
and how well they're selling and what we're selling for? I mean, why switch markets now?
Yeah, we're pretty embedded in the camera market, and I foresee that particular market is going to be strong for a while. Does that mean you should or should not get into the camera market? I don't think you should pass up camera gear. To become a camera specialist and to get where we are right now took us 8 years.
Yeah, and of course, I think we joined at a fairly advantageous time. There are a couple other, I mean, if we joined like 2 years earlier, maybe a little bit better off now, but I mean, I think we were kind of riding the wave in a sense, right? So right now, we're in the position we need to be to sell stuff. In another 6 years, if it took you that long to get into camera stuff as well as we are, I mean, is it still going to be there quite as strong as it is today, or is it going to be the same? I mean, who knows?
Well, you know, you'd have to think who's our main buyer right now, and I think the camera market has 10 years left in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the baby boomers are going to get older, and I believe those are the ones, the people that are 50 to 70 right now that are our main buyers. They're rediscovering film because they're retiring.
Yeah, I was going to say close second is the younger people who sort of grew up on film. I mean, their parents shot a film camera, whatever, when they were kids. They're in their 20s to late 20s, early 30s, whatever now, and they're getting into it. But obviously I think that's a little bit smaller part of our market because they're a little bit film dumber than some of the collector market that we
let's put it this way. Mm-hmm. There used to be a horse and buggy market. Yeah. And now there's a pretty strong automobile market. Mm-hmm. But 20, 30 years from now, I bet classic cars will be replaced by electric cars.
Well, absolutely. Well, here's what you can see with the car thing.
So the film cameras and the vintage cameras, that market is not going to be a huge market forever.
Yeah, you can see the exact same thing in the car market, though. I mean, what's selling now is the 70s, somewhat 80s stuff, but mainly the 70s stuff, and then the 90s stuff. I mean, it's two separate markets, and that's what I'm talking about, like you were saying, baby boomers and, I guess, millennials, if that's what you want to call them.
There's a sliding market. There's a sliding age. We went on a car ferry ride across Lake Michigan to the state of Michigan, and we did a little picking on the coastline there, which was across from Detroit, where they made the Ford Model Ts and Model A's and all those. And we met an old timer there that said, oh yeah, 30 years ago, the Model T and the Model A market and the parts market for that was all jacked up. Everybody was into that, and it would have been the hot rod builders from the 50s, 60s, and 70s going back to what they remember as kids, building the Model A's and Model T's and things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he said, now I've got 20 of these things and nobody wants them.
Yeah. Exactly.
So people used to come from Detroit and they used to vacation over on the coastline with the beaches and stuff, and this guy for many, many years made a living buying the old cars. And
because I mean, they retired there. They're like, oh yeah, my parents worked at the Detroit factory. I was all immersed in that whole thing as a kid. I moved away, had a good business. Now I'm retired. I want another one, and that's what it was 20 or 30 years ago.
So if I were starting right now and I wanted to bank on vintage cameras, I would tread lighter than if you were entrenched like we are.
Yeah,
we're entrenched, and we will see the signs, and we will see the time when it's right to move on.
Yep. There's a really interesting kind of, I don't know what kind of graph you'd call it or what kind of spiral, but there's a certain time window, and then there's like little outriggers. That's other stuff is still relevant, but this main vein is what is really going
I would bet
right now.
I would bet it's a bell curve.
Something like that.
Do you know what a bell curve is?
Yeah. That makes that's about what I was thinking of.
It's a statistical thing, and I took some high level math when I was in engineering, and I never mastered it. But I mean, I got exposed to it enough. There's a bell curve, and I bet you, whether that bell is thinner or wider, I bet you through most markets that are buy and sell markets, I would bet that bell curve moves along, and we're somewhere in that bell curve. Well, and that's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, like you look back at the 1880s cameras, and those still sell. I mean, there still is a pretty dedicated market, whether they're 50 or 25 who are still working and using those cameras, but they obviously learn from somebody, and eventually, once the people they learn from die off, and then once they get old and die off, I mean, then the market's dead for good. I mean, it's like a copy of a copy of a copy. Eventually, it's not going to be there anymore.
Well, and to put a little icing on this and maybe an ending on this particular question, as time goes on in the camera market, less and less experts exist. More and more items get lost or broken, and there's less and less people that want it. but those things somewhat line up.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think the market
Yeah.
shrinks.
And a really interesting last point here is you can look back in the camera history thing. When I'm trying to sell something, I have trouble finding certain age ranges of things. They weren't very well documented, or it's lost to time at some point there. And usually it's interesting. It's kind of like the 30s to 60s stuff, like the accessories and all that kind of stuff. The stuff before that was pretty well documented because it was kind of new and fresh and everything. And the stuff after that was pretty well documented because the people who are still alive who know all that stuff. So I mean, it's interesting. There's a range in there.
Let me throw this out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll ask you a question on this. So 500 items a month that we sell, let's say 400 of them are camera related, 400 times 12, 5,000 items a year we sell times 8 years is 40,000 items. We've probably thrown out and passed on another 20,000 items. So let's say just to make it a thing, we've looked at 100,000 camera items,
Mm-hmm.
let's say. How many out of those are so unique you can hardly find anything, or you can't find anything at all?
Very small percentage, but
It's
there
been
is
100
there is a
items. Or
percentage.
so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100. Yeah, around 100 items, I'd say.
I mean, we find items
Mm-hmm.
that you cannot identify.
Yep. Well, eventually after.
And some of those have been like $3,000.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because the thing is, you can identify them, but you have to know how to search for them. They aren't available on the normal web. I mean, you have to go into old magazines, old archives of books and newspapers that obviously have been out of print for 30 years, whatever. I mean, it's that kind of weird stuff.
But that part of the hunt makes it fun.
It didn't make it to the internet age at all.
Okay, next question. I'm going to read this, and then can talk a little bit about this. I was talking about having an entrepreneurial seizure and getting excited and wanting to start your own business. A lot of people, in fact, most people who work for somebody dream of a couple different things. One, they dream of going higher in their current job title.
The big promotion.
Big promotion. Some of them are dreaming about vacation. Some of them are dreaming about winning the lottery. And then one of the other things that people dream about when they're at work is starting their own business.
Yep.
And not working for the man and doing their own thing and having that entrepreneurial hiccup, and then they go off and they do their thing. So I believe the guy you were thinking of talking about, people starting a business as technicians but not having an entrepreneurial vision, is Michael E. Gerber, who is the author of the book, The E-Myth. Did I ever have you read that?
I don't think so. I've seen the book before, though.
I think I've tried to have you read that.
Yeah.
Why most small businesses
reading.
don't work and what to do about it. The main idea of the book is that in every business there needs to be technicians, the manager, and most importantly, the entrepreneur. And we're talking about even one-person businesses. Sometimes you have to put on the different hats.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, we're talking about 3, 4, 5, 10, 20-person businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Many business owners are really good technicians. Technicians are the ones that are down and dirty, that get everything done. But they quickly burn out because they do not have any entrepreneurial vision or managerial understanding to delegate work. Hopefully this is what you meant. Great video, awesome channel. I learned a lot from my own eBay picking business for rare coins, specializing in Indian head cents. Now that's interesting.
That is really cool,
it's
actually.
a really tight niche.
It is, and I think there's a pretty good niche there. I mean, there's different errors. I mean, there's actually 2 different compositions they made, like in the 1860s. They made the nickel ones and they made the copper ones. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. But yeah,
there's good collectors. Yeah.
Yep.
And then there were other people that said, "Did you mean Michael Gerber, E-Myth, when you spoke about entrepreneurial seizure?"
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to go off on a whole E-Myth tangent, but there was a time in my life where I read and studied a lot about different businesses. When I was 27, I made a huge shift from being in the corporate world, coming out of college, going through a corporate sales organization, going through a corporate engineering, insurance, safety, inspection type world, spending time in being trained in college. And then I made the jump to a family business which had 4 or 5 employees, 1 full-time and a bunch of part-time ones. And we grew that to 15 employees over a 10-year time span. I was the one who had to shape it with the help of my mother, who was the boss and owner, but I was the one who spent the time shaping it. I studied businesses during that time, and so I came across a lot of different mindsets, and one of them was the E-Myth, which basically talks about why small businesses fail and the mindset you need to take your concept, to develop it and make it run without you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you haven't read the E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber, I would read it, and then, that's what you need.
Yeah.
You don't need me to give you the review on it. However, I have taken that and other information, and I talk about all those things throughout my daily videos, and that's where I draw from some of that stuff. Now, in the last 20 years, mainly since I started having children, it's all on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
My life is all on the fly. I don't have a lot of time or energy to be studying these things, but you may have to if you don't have the experiences or the time to trial and error, or nobody has all the skill sets right when they're born, when they're spanked on the butt and hello, wake up.
Yeah,
Hello,
I'm an entrepreneur.
Take your first breath. Although my parents thought I was that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Wheeler had some of that in him for sure when I first met him on day one.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people have certain gifts and skills. So, I don't know. I would recommend reading that book. There's, maybe I should list out some books, but I don't think anything but getting out and doing the buying and selling business is better than getting out and doing the buying and selling business. I don't think reading E-Myth alone is going to accelerate your business. But if you want a perspective on how to develop your business, maybe to the next step, that would be a good book.
Yep.
All right, what do you think, Wheeler?
Well, there's definitely a lot of different mindsets. I mean, there's people who want to succeed and are willing to do what it takes to succeed, and there's people who, they want to read everything. They want somebody to tell them what to do to succeed, which
book smarts and
different.
street smarts.
Yeah, there's some different things there.
There are people that watch things happen.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that make things happen. And there's people who wake up one day and say, what happened?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny, though. I talk to a lot of different people through my cubing and some stuff like that. And, I don't know, I used to take apart a lot of stuff. I figured out how it worked. I put it back together. And now I know how it works. These people asking, hey, how does this work? Can you tell me how to fix this? And I'm like, go through the steps I went through and take it apart, figure out how it works, put it back together, and then learn.
When you haven't done anything, there's no shortcuts.
Exactly, it's a little bit different.
All right,
it's hard to explain.
Das einzig wahre.
Yeah.
Warsteiner.
Yeah.
That's one you don't like.
Established 1753.
Yeah. Packers, by all polls that I read, the only one I ever read, ranked number 1 going in. My wife's happy. Lon's happy. The big Packer fan in the house.
Yeah.
I just wear what she buys me. All right, so E-Myth. To E-Myth. I don't know if Gerber's still alive. He's probably in his 80s if he is. Probably is. He's kind of a wily dude.
E-Myth reminds me of that guy from, Land of the Lost. What is that dude's name?
Enoch.
Enoch. E-Myth. Enoch, yeah.
Enoch, and from the Land of the Lost, the Sleigh Stack from the future.
Actually, from the past.
From the past?
Yeah,
from the past.
he thought he was
right.
from the future.
That's right.
But it turns out...
Yeah, I think Michael Gerber and Enoch are from the same family.
Yeah.
It's extremely valuable when you bring these things to the surface. As a small business owner, much of what you covered is known to me. But as you said, surfacing it and pushing ourselves to think about things versus being on autopilot is really valuable. It's why pilots go through checklists. They've done things thousands of times, thousands of flights, but the second you get comfortable and feel that you know it all is when bad things happen. Keep ranting.
Yep.
So this was in reference to...
Recently been watching some pilot people on YouTube. They're kind of interesting. It's a whole different thing.
This was in reference to episode 322, Attitude, Big Picture, and Time Management.
Yeah.
And I did some sort of a rant there, and I think to summarize it, somebody put another one on there. I like this one. I like this quote a lot, and you might have to think about it if it doesn't hit you right away. I read it, and I thought about it for a while, and it's a simple concept, but anyway. There are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots.
A nice quote there.
Yeah, and you know what I did when I read that, my mind is, I don't know why, but my mind sits here and goes by itself. And there's a part of it, call it whatever you want to call it, it's just gear driven, whatever. And it kind of went through my life when I was bolder, and now I'm older, and a lot of changes have happened. But, yeah. So anyway, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's quite a change from the tea to the
German Pilsner,
German
beer.
Vort.
Of course, I guess a Pilsner is sort of like what a Bud Light is based on. So isn't that about the same, right?
Yeah. Yes. Good reminders. I feel that way a lot when it comes to talking yourself out of deals because I have pretty much maxed out all the space I can store things in. My house, my storage, my second storage. I've even got my old van I don't use filled with items. Uh-oh.
Oh no, not too far.
I've got enough unlisted items at this point that I probably don't need to source for a year or two. But at least a few times a week, I'm passing up deals, many of which are free items, because I just have no more room to put anything. I have to talk myself out of going and picking them up because if I do, I'm just making the problem worse. On that note, if you guys ever decide to leave where you are, sourcing is amazing down here in Texas. More than enough to spread around, plus no state income tax, and homeschooling is completely unregulated down here. Don't know how y'all would handle the heat with all that running you do. Most of us live inside during the summer.
Texas is a big place for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of different climates and areas of Texas. And we did look at Texas a little bit before we moved here. Part of the reason we didn't do it initially is my wife Lon gave me sort of a 1 day away from Wisconsin distance. And that was that.
Yeah.
And so that sealed the deal on certain areas.
Far coast of Texas is probably 2 days away. It's pretty far.
So, couple comments here. You know, if you have the room, if you have the land, we know some people out here that would classify part of what they do as scrapping. And they've got farmland, they've got an area where they can just throw stuff. And sometimes they find that they run into somebody that is looking for something and they have it. And it's not hurting them too much. Some of them scrap metal and different things, and when the price goes high enough, then they sell it. Otherwise, they just keep mounding it up.
You see some of those massive junkyards around here, and man,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy sometimes.
So everybody's tolerance for stuff is different. I'm going to give a shout out right now to the Tennessee Picker. Been watching your channel a little bit and watching some of the stuff that you're doing to work with momentum. But something that he was saying in a video recently kind of hit me, and I left a comment for him. I've got too much stuff. I should be listing it instead of going and buying more. And the timing is not always right for stuff, but the main point that I want to get out there is this. If you do all listing, you will go crazy.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
But
yeah.
I think some people, they need to step out of this idea. If you have enough stuff to list, you should be spending most of your time listing that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. List more that you're buying. When
you go buying, and you should always be buying, always be looking for stuff, change your buying strategy from your normal strategy of buying all your normal stuff that got you into that mess to looking more and buying less, buy the better stuff.
That's a good idea. I mean, I'm sure in all the stuff you have in your back stock, there's a cream and there's the milk. I mean, figure out what that cream is and just buy that. I mean, go out buying as much as you want, but buy the cream.
There are a few people out there, and it's really mostly rumor because I've never really personally like hung out with one of these people, but I've run into rumors, and of course some people make more money than others, some people make more than us. Some people say that they buy only the best stuff. They're disciplined enough to only buy the best stuff, and they got enough of it. That would be the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But for the rest of us who have a problem,
for the real people,
who have a problem and they just want to buy everything, and then they don't know what to do with half of it, I don't think going out and buying the cream is a problem. It's like this last weekend when we went to the flea market, we passed on a lot of stuff 5 years ago we would have bought all of it.
Absolutely.
And we bought a lot of the cream, and a lot of it is sitting around here unlisted, and we're listing stuff all week long anyway. It doesn't matter. But we got some really good stuff.
Yeah, and also here's another thing, like don't let just buying the cream dissuade you from like looking up other things as well. Like that's one thing I can kind of fall into the trap of, like, oh, here's the cream, here's a couple of really good items, but then here's some items that, oh, those probably aren't worth anything, let's not look them up. I mean, because we have plenty of stuff already. I mean, look stuff up and still be learning on that. I noticed that a little bit at the flea market and all that.
Well, you should always be expanding your understanding.
Yeah, I mean, if you can expand your knowledge of the cream while also buying stuff you already know, I mean, that's where you need to be.
Nobody should turn into a hoarder unless they want to. Go ahead. I mean, you do have to decide if this is a business you're in, or if it's a hobby, or if you're a hoarder.
Yeah, just love to be surrounded by stuff.
Some people, I mean, the American Pickers go on the TV duo, Mike and Frank, they go out, and at least half the people they go see are hoarders, and they seem happy. And so if that's you, why change it? I mean, there's certainly spiritual reasons not to be a hoarder, not to love your junk. But the reality is some people like to be surrounded by junk, and so whatever. But if you're in a business, you got to make it work. So if you are not selling the stuff you're buying, if you're losing money, if you can't move around your house and your house people that you live with are mad about it, I mean, those are all signs that something's wrong.
So I can summarize it: buy less than you can list. And if you're going to buy stuff, buy the cream, and possibly even expand your knowledge to buy more higher end stuff than you would before.
Pick well, list often.
That's it. That's an even better summary.
First 30 seconds almost made me want to click off and move on to the next video.
Wow. So basically the first 30 seconds he was watching, like, should I click off? Should I click off? And they watched all 5 hours of it. So that's good. And
then somebody commented to that comment, yep.
So reminds you of like auction. Yep.
Yeah. So, look.
Auctioneer going.
Anybody that is watching my videos and then has a comment that's sort of like critical on some of the goofy stuff I do, all I can say is, where's your 340 videos? I mean, if I'm just gonna grind out and say, here's my items, here's Wheeler, hi banana peeler.
That's my vlog, so that's why they failed. That's why they failed.
This thing weighs 2 ounces. I just used a number 7 box and I ran out of tape.
Oh, man. This gave me flashbacks to why I quit my vlog. It was so boring.
I mean, I vary things.
It has to be.
I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
Don't watch me if you can't hack it.
When I start saying, okay, this listing took me 2 minutes, this one took me 3, this one took me 3 1/4, this one was 2 seconds faster. I mean, that's just boring. I mean, who wants to watch that?
Yeah. So, not all my videos are A+.
Yeah. I get some people are looking for different things than others, but if you aren't looking for what we're delivering, don't watch.
Yeah, I do have a certain small audience that's pretty critical. And if that's your thing, whatever.
Yep.
But we did videos at a commercial location, and I'm telling you this straight out. Making these videos that I'm making now is harder than it used to be because I don't have enough area to roam around. I've got
Just look at me, yeah.
I've got like three little rooms I can go to and move around and shoot. And so if I have to make a funny face or say some filler or start a video with something that makes you sick,
Start with a sick trick.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah, no, that's what happened to me, I think. I mean, you can tell how hard it was. I mean, I can't keep my vlog going.
Finding a good way to sort all this has got to be difficult. So one of the things that I've been experiencing since we did the last show is getting down to the root of what I really have in my back stock at the house.
Mm-hmm.
We have a storage unit somewhere in some state that we're not going to name that has more stuff in it than we have here.
Yeah.
Which, does that bother me? I think that's another question. But anyway, I had to get down to the bottom of it. It took several sorts, and it was difficult. Here are some tips that somebody gave us.
Yeah.
Number one, I think you need to tell Wheeler you need items. He wants to keep it all, and that's not viable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have been trying
Tell me it.
I've been trying to get items for me to list from the camera stuff, and it has been a little bit of a jockey.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, of course.
We don't want to get into
The thing is, I've been doing the camera stuff for 8 years, and now we're trying to change it. So I mean, that's the gist of it. I mean, that's where it is.
Number two, well, it is easy to sort by like items. I'm sure you will not want to list 20 working AE1s at the same time, and eBay wouldn't like that either.
Why not?
3, I hope you are picking out the super gems, $300 to $400 plus items, and listing them right away. 4, as always, it's one opinion from 400,000 feet. Oh my gosh.
At least he knows it.
Well.
I mean, I like that opinion. That's good.
No, I don't have a problem with this at all.
No, that's what I'm saying.
400,000 feet. What is that?
Quite a ways.
It's 5,000 is a mile.
Bad. How far in space are you?
What's the quick math on that? 10,000 would be 2 miles.
Yeah.
It's like 80 miles up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Where the heck is this guy?
Astronaut.
80 miles, is that where the space
Like
station
the
is?
Hubble Space Telescope.
Ah, that's even outside the atmosphere, I think.
Yeah.
Good grief. This guy's on like the moon. How many miles? 80 miles? How many? No, I guess that's farther than that. Okay,
Yeah.
that might be.
Yeah.
That's
It's a little bit over.
the beer talking
Yeah.
there. Okay, so we did a major shift. After our 6-week vacation last year, I had a lot of time to think. We had this new super supply figured out of camera stuff. We actually, between the 6-week vacation and on the way home, we stayed 2 or 3 days somewhere between South Carolina and here, and you and I met for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yep.
And we came up with a strategy to try to get you the best camera stuff and to try to get some of that stuff that's marginal away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And to talk about it and then to put it into practice are two different things.
Yeah.
And so we've been working at that.
Yep.
And I think I've got enough camera stuff in my life now to realize that I don't want to go much farther.
Yeah.
And I will list and lot up and distribute all the low-end stuff that I can, and I'm just going to give you a lifetime supply of the other stuff.
Yeah. I was wondering why you're saying here, I'm sure you're not wanting to list 20 working can
We're going
A1s,
to get to
you
that
know,
one.
Okay, we're not quite there yet. I guess there's one more.
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess that's it.
So
There's 1,000 already listed. Why wouldn't you want to add 20 to there to get a better chance of selling one?
how many AE1s are listed?
Say 1,000.
Okay, so there's 1,000 AE1 Canon camera bodies listed at any time. It's one of the most popular
It
Canon
is.
cameras right now.
Yeah.
In fact, it ebbs and flows, but it's pretty hot.
Mm-hmm.
In demand. People are rebuilding them. People are using them for school cameras. People are using them as shooter cameras. People are collecting them.
And it's one of those things we're kind of at the apex right now. I mean, we're at the peak of where they're really popular. Just maybe laying off just a little bit off their...
You can list 20 of them right below the going price, and those 20 probably would go within 30 days.
Oh yeah. And the way we do it, we list them above the going price.
And they trickle out.
Because we don't find them that often.
Yeah, they trickle out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of them, like the black ones, are really worth buying and listing. So
I gotta go grab the one back from you. I came down here for the show off and I didn't bring it back, I don't think.
oh yeah, it's in the tote back there.
Yeah, I meant to grab that back.
So now maybe a better example for that question would be listing 20 box cameras, which we used to do. So box cameras,
flooding the market versus adding to the market.
Yeah, flooding the market with anything that there's not really a fast-moving market. That's a waste of time.
Yeah, that's the difference. What if somebody looks it up and they see 20 listers, like, there's no urgency to buy this right now?
Right. So if we have 20, okay, let me give you another example that I recently ran into. I bought all those mannequin heads.
Mm-hmm.
The mannequin head market is more listed than buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So if I list those individually, out of the 20 I bought, there's probably 3 to 5 in there that are more desirable than the other 15.
Yep.
I've already had people contact me and say, oh, I gotta have that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that hair, I gotta have that one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not, willing to break the lot up yet.
Yeah.
So I will lot them up, and I'm willing to give them away at a lower price and let somebody else job lot them, use them all, stack them up, put on their lawn as Halloween
Grab the
props.
one they want, throw it.
Grab the one they want, give the rest of them away, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, so we get it. We don't want to flood the market with something that there's no market.
So now that I think about it, yeah, that makes a lot more sense though. If you're talking flooding the market versus actually making a competitive play for the market. I mean, if there's 1,000 listed and you put 20 up there, you actually have more of a chance of selling some because there's more visibility. Versus if you flood the market, obviously you're making a market and maybe you'll sell one or something. I mean, I can get that for sure.
Yeah,
I get that a lot more. That makes sense.
There's a lot of different markets out there, and we typically, with camera stuff, buy what's available.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes we find 6 rare accessories and we list them all up and they sell pretty quick, and sometimes we find 6 rare accessories, list them up, and none sell. I mean, I get that for sure.
Yeah, so we have to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a daily figure out thing.
Yep.
Okay, and then the last one, do we pick out all the super gems and list them right away? Well, first of all, we don't know for sure which all the super gems are without looking them up.
Yep.
And that can take quite a bit of research on certain items.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell a $300 to $400 super gem camera item for $20.
Yeah.
All day long.
Oh, of course.
But if you look those up and add a little bit of information to it and the right keywords, sometimes you'll get the $300 to $400.
Well, the interesting thing is when I go through one of our sorted totes, I'd say that I might know there's 1 super gem in there, or I might know there's 2 super gems. I'll find 6 or 7 in there when it's all said and done, because I pick out. I mean, most of them you won't even know until you look into it, because there just are so many different things.
And in reality, that is part of the reason why I wanted to do the sort that I did,
Mm-hmm.
because we did group certain things.
Yeah.
And we do want to list a lot of those first, but we have 100 totes back there. We're still going to find super gems that we don't even know exist right now.
Oh, of course.
It's the way it is.
I guess I had one more comment on the previous one there. I'm sure you're not want to list 20 working Can A1s. I mean, why not? Onesie twosie is a big pain, and actually listing all the same item is super. I mean, sure, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but man, that is way easier to get one battery to test them and just rocket them through there. So I don't know. It's a lot easier to me.
Right. The AE1 market would be similar to listing
like Apple.
Hot video games, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hot video games, like the Apple TVs you were talking back in the day,
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, it's that kind of thing.
It's a pretty solid market.
Mm-hmm.
And eBay doesn't care either.
Yeah.
You do have to take different pictures and have slightly different titles.
I have to have slightly different titles, just different pictures. That's why
certain
all based on the pictures.
Certain categories, they let you have the same title.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
That must be what it is.
Because I have some categories that you have to change the title.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I found I'm pretty sure you can keep 1 or 2. I mean, you have to have at least mostly different pictures. I mean, that's all I've found though. If you have even 1 or 2 of the same picture from one, I mean, sometimes they have weird glitches, but for the most part, it's just the pictures.
And without digressing and getting into it,
Mm-hmm.
I get little warning messages from eBay every once in a while on all kinds of things, and you have to.
Oh, because I missed something.
You have to.
I mean, it's just.
Well, it's not you.
confusing.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, in some ways.
There's constant little.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it's somebody's fault or not.
All right, okay, here we're going in a different direction.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
The internet is a tool. Big tech is in control, not any of us. We don't like the direction things are going. Survival of the fittest,
Yeah.
not just in reselling, but in many, many other things. We hope others have experience selling offline and don't put all their eggs in one basket.
Bartering, trading, all that kind of stuff. Offline is a good skill to have if you're like a computer nerd stuck in his closet and that's all you can do. I mean, that's not us.
Yeah.
That's not what you should try and be, I guess.
Well, I mean, my biggest piece of advice is this. Throughout the ages, there have always been the haves and have-nots. And look, we're in a technology heavy arena. And I'm not just talking about eBay, I'm talking about the world. And if you are not a person that's watching this that controls that big technology, we do use it as a tool, and in some instances, what would the word be? I mean, we're under its control.
I was going to say, we rely on it pretty heavily.
And so if you find yourself living in the online world more than you live in the real world, it would pay to develop some real world skills and a backup plan should things change for you.
Yep. So I was going to say, the good news is that a lot of the online skills, reselling in general, kind of translates to the real world. But I mean, you have to keep that in mind.
You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
The battery is blinking.
Oh no.
All right, quick.
So this is our only battery, right? We don't have any more.
Oh, I've got 3.
This is the end.
The end.
This doesn't matter. If you notice, it zooms in a little bit when you start recording. It's just...
So is this the video mode now?
No, I mean, it just goes into auto video mode, so...
Oh.
But your base mode is... So I think
I don't know.
Moving very well.
As long as I turn it on and videos come out the other end.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what's working?
Yeah.
We got to start over from the beginning?
No.
So, some of the things we do, some people always express concern that my kids are too sheltered, or we're too sheltered, or they don't get enough exposure with other kids or friends and things like that. We do all kinds of things as a family, and we get them out into things. Is it as much as the normal kid? No, but it's my personal opinion that most families suck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not knocking you out there.
Yeah.
But if the kids go one way and the parents go another, and when they get home, they hardly ever eat supper together, and then they get on their devices and TV, and they never hardly talk, and on the weekends, maybe they watch TV together or something. I mean, what good is that?
Either all hate each other, it's a big rift, or they're all on their devices and removed from each other. I mean, it's a different thing.
Yeah, so don't knock it.
Yep.
But the point is, we get out and do a lot of different interaction, and if a big shift comes in our life or in general, I think we're right there being able to handle it.
Yep.
And you should be too.
Exactly.
So think about whatever that might mean. But
if you live online and that's all you can possibly do, you should probably have a backup plan.
Well, yeah, you can't count on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in big tech.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that everyone should be aware of. Those who own the gold make the rules. And if you don't believe in or like some of that stuff, you need to be aware who you're dealing with. Is that coded enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. We're going to get on to some of these things. Sometimes these questions kind of go in streaks, right?
Yeah.
Where are we at? Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
One thing I learned about college is that you need to have discipline, and that's in quotes, in order to obtain your goals, because if you don't, you'll never graduate from college. I know this because I have a relative who went to college for 10 years and never obtained any degree. That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good streak there, yeah.
Yeah. You will learn about discipline in 2 ways. You learn it by yourself, or you learn it by going to school. College is the best years for Young people.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree. That's the standard outlook. I mean, everybody sees college as, oh, rebel from the parents, get away from the parents, go have parties, go have fun, whatever. I mean, learn your worldly, whatever stuff. I don't know. I see it.
You know, a lot of people used to go to college and they would grow up and or drop out.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they dropped out, then they'd go to the real world, and then they would either grow out or drop out of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people went off to the military and they mostly grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Some people went right into work and grow up or drop out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's tough to say that there's any real path these days that makes sense. The way I've looked at it is I certainly personally have my own views, and I express them with my kids, and ultimately I am open to anything they want to do, and I give them choices. And Wheeler is 19 going on 20. He could go to college if he wants. I've talked with him about it some. He's thought about it some. My daughter, who's 17, going to graduate, we're talking to her. She's thinking about it some. I have my opinions. I'm not against it.
Yep.
I have my opinions on how it should be handled in today's world. But of course, I have a different way I'm looking at it than everybody else. There's certainly maybe some pros and cons, and there's some crossover. But to say that that's the way, or to say that that's not the way, I'm not sure that that's a good idea.
Yeah, and just kind of a general idea, but all my friends or people I've talked to who went to college, they either go there for an education or are really into the studying, but for the most part, I mean, maybe I just hang around with the wrong type of people, but I mean, they're going there to party and who knows what. I mean, just, it's the way to go to get away from your life in high school or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a whole different concept in most cases, most cases. I don't like studying either, so it's not a good
I
fit.
went to a community college for 2 years, and that was an experience. I went to a 4-year college for 3.5 more years, total of 5.5 years. Half year of that was working for a company that was set up by the program I was in, and it was valuable. But as I look back, if I could plan that differently, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have went.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't imagine wasting that many years of my life, going to debt. I mean, that whole thing. I'm above board right now. I have the knowledge that I need to succeed, and I have so much potential that I can do with that time, rather than, I mean, first of all, I don't like studying, but secondly, I mean, that just seems like, doesn't seem like the right path.
So I have 6
Thought
kids.
about it
I have 6 kids, and I can already see that maybe 2 or 3 of them would be college material for the right reasons. And I don't know I don't know what's going to exactly happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I certainly am giving them options. And I have a lot of opinions that I don't necessarily think I'll share here, because they're not mainstream. I'm not mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mainstream because I don't want to be mainstream. I'm not mainstream because I don't agree with some of the mainstream stuff. And that's not saying that, you know, it's not saying anything. It's just, those are my opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Does that, you know, here's a funny thing. In today's world, you can be a lot of, really, from what I consider, a lot of weird things, and everybody celebrates it.
Yeah.
But if you come up with something that's maybe weird and niche and logical, boy, you can really be attacked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
If you don't go with the...
You want to eat healthy food and you don't want to eat the GMO, shitty, sweet-ass corn syrup, effed up McDonald's food? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What?
Go get a healthy meal at McDonald's. It's only $1.
So that's just an example, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I could go on about 100 hours on this subject.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, it's just where I'm at. It's just what I believe. So, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, let's open a can of worms, right? All right, here we go. Way to censor 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Hope your kid, meaning you, Wheeler, didn't get beat up or cursed at too violently. T-O, not T-O-O, too violently.
Yeah.
Violently?
Yeah, violently. Violently. Yeah,
Violently. I don't know.
But anyway, no. See, we had to cut this out because this was like an old Western standoff. We had like the crazy music and like the eye things, and we all like hold our weapons, and we went back to the vlog. So I mean, it didn't quite fit the theme. We had to cut that part out.
So I very rarely cut things out of my video. It's funny. I never thought I would make it big enough in the vlogging where somebody would start leaving comments with like, at 6 minutes and 35 seconds, that was the point where your shit changed.
Yeah.
And of course I do get comments, oh my gosh, dealer swore he's off his rocker.
Oh no, this is a Christian Minecraft server. We've got to preserve the...
Well,
no swear, you're going to get banned.
yeah, it's Friday night, yeah. It's after hours.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're not watching this late night, I guess it's different, but this is the late night show here.
True. So anyway, here's what happened in that video. We were doing one of our sorts, and we came across the Minox little spy camera projector stand.
Whatever. Viewer.
And we were having a great time with it. And Wheeler had just said, oh, this thing's worth big bucks.
Yeah.
And then the next split second,
well, you're giving me some subtle clues or subtle hints that, oh, there's something wrong with that. I was like, what? What's wrong with it? What could possibly be wrong? I was like moving all over the place, and then it was pretty funny though. I mean, you gotta just tell me, man. My gears were turning that, hey, this thing could be worth $500, and then the next split second, it is falling and breaking, and that's it. It's going to be worth nothing. Yeah.
And so I laced out. I mean, I had been breathing in the mold of this stuff for days.
Oh, I mean, you've been sorting this stuff.
This stuff.
Worn out.
And I was looking for good pieces, and I actually brought this one to your attention, and I was excited. I let out an F-bomb.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And I was, and right on that was, Wheeler, why did you do that? I was a little mad because Wheeler's supposed to be this expert.
I don't know, it was my next thing. I mean, I'm learning as I go.
So 2 seconds, 5 seconds after that, I recovered, and I was like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody can tape it, whatever. I mean,
it's fine.
We have so much stuff, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But if I keep the camera rolling, there's an F-bomb right in there. And so I cut like a 5-second snippet out of there.
It was badly designed, let's just say that.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault.
So there have been times in this business where I have lost my cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been some things that Wheeler has done that have made me a little angry.
Yeah, maybe we should go the whole hardcore pawn route. Have you seen those reactions and those interactions during the father-son duo on there?
But I think if you've ever been a father, if you've ever had kids, sometimes your kids drive you nuts, sometimes you lose your cool.
Mm-hmm.
For me, some of the challenging moments in our business where when we were working really hard, low on sleep, all that kind of stuff. Maybe some of our picking days in the early days used to be 18-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
Wheeler, you're now driving. You might realize that during some of those days I was driving like 6 or 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wears on you.
Oh, yeah.
And then so when something happens, you can lose your cool a little bit. I also used to have to work third shift to make it happen, and some other things. We had 2 babies in the house at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Your sleep is screwed up, and so there are certain things like that. When the camera's on, sometimes you lose your cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm a pretty chill dude. I don't really lose my cool, but that's just me. I mean, most people do. I'm not.
Well, and I'm not
surprised.
And I'm not trying to compare my personality with yours, Wheeler, or anything like that, but I have 10 times the pressure on me.
Yeah,
at all times.
I get that, yeah, for sure.
So it's just, whatever. So I did clip 5 seconds out of there, And
just because you don't want to have the bleep, bleep, bleep. I mean, that's hard to put in there in post, right?
I'm not an editor.
That's what I'm saying. It's mostly just the editing issue, I think, was most of it.
Well, I watched it, and I'm like, that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And of course, the police probably were about to come to our door. They thought I was beating you up.
Yeah.
Another interesting vlog. I think if I was faced with that number of cheapy SLR bodies on your table, after my initial OMG reaction, I would list them individually for auction. Starting price $99.99 plus shipping, condition untested, and let the market decide. One auction template, just change the title and images. Some will sell, some will not. Those that don't, I would relist as job lots, Canon lot, Nikon lot, going, gone. As far as your final comments, the truth is out there somewhere. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
It's just that we are not seeing it. Maybe, maybe not. Perhaps the truth is only found within.
What a cryptic message at the end there. Who knows?
Kidding.
Yeah.
Within the
It's pretty
within the SLR camera, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's in quotations. I guess it's something you said or something. That's what he's
Who knows?
playing off. I don't know exactly what.
Yeah.
No, so the thing is, the camera bodies have been down and they've been up. Right now they're up. We're not going to...
Well, okay, so we had
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about it. I think you and I are on the same page. We had like 600 camera bodies.
Yeah.
Out of the 600, 200-300 of those are $40 and up.
Oh, yeah.
And worth waiting for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And they're only $40 and up if you test them.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the reason we get $40 off. The Canon, I mean, the thing is, the cameras that sell really, really well, you can list untested at $30, $40 somewhere, and they'll sell pretty quick. But we list them at 80, and we get that money pretty quick out of them. Some we list higher than that. I mean,
it's one way to deal with them would be to zip them out.
Mm-hmm.
But because we've invested in the knowledge,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's not that much easier.
And you put 10 or 20 or 50 of these in a row, you can go through and test those pretty rapidly.
Oh yeah, I'd say.
And the leverage, the dollar leverage there is high.
It takes probably, I'd even just say 1.25 times as much time to actually fully test and list them that way rather than list them as is whatever at auction. I mean, it'd take just as much time pretty much.
So the divisions that we've made in our shop are we will spend time with the stuff that we can get leverage on spending time with, and the rest of the stuff we'll lot up and wholesale out.
Yeah.
So we really have two parts to our business. One is more of a wholesale end of it, and that's not you. It really should be one is a wholesale end of it, me, and one is more of a specialty retail
boutique,
specialist
almost.
Boutique.
I don't like using that word, but it sort of fits in some
Expert.
cases when you press something up a little bit higher. I mean,
Well,
yeah, that's what it is.
We're aiming at a different market.
That's it.
And
we're
in reality,
aiming at the market most boutiques are aiming at.
in reality, that's why we have two separate eBay channels. That this is surprising and funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the guy did it, but he bought two things from us. We don't publicize our eBay channels anymore.
Yeah.
But he bought two things from us on the same day on both of our.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know how
that's neat.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything. It was
coincidental, but I doubt it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. So it would be somewhat easy to analyze some of the things we do from a distance and apply some other picking and buying and selling ideas to it.
Yep.
But every niche is a little bit different, and the camera niche is a little bit different. And the way we do things is the best way we found out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing pretty well at it.
Yeah.
First, you will feel so much better when the back room is sorted and organized. It's always a good feeling when you get another step accomplished in your business. And then somebody followed that up with, I feel good when stuff is listed and sold.
Well, of course. I mean, who doesn't?
So there was sort of a debate back and forth on some of our sorting videos. Hey, the sort is important. You're going to feel good when it's done. Wow, your room looks so much better. I got the same mess. I wish I would sort it. here's the tubs I use, here's the totes I use, I see what you're doing, good for you, take a break, blah, 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 blah.
If all the stuff out there, you should just take a picture and list us a lot.
Well, and then there's the other side of it, get down to it, quit sorting, all I do is grab the stuff and list it, get it out of there. So, you know, there's sort of a debate on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I see both sides of it. But unless you're in our shoes, how can you travel?
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you have 6,000 cameras in backstock?
Well, and that's really.
I guess if you did, you'd do it the way you're talking about. But
I think, you know, I was thinking about this when I was assembling these questions earlier today. I was thinking, you know, what really should I think about here? And I was thinking that possibly the person that was putting comments down about how they just want to grab stuff and list it, maybe they're a one-person shop.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the only fight they have is between them and themselves and their stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas we're at least 2 full-time people.
Mm-hmm.
And we are different on how we work with things, and we both do similar things some in the business, but we also do some different things.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the sort that I do is to aid your listing.
Yeah.
Because I know how you work.
Yep.
And
complementary skill sets again.
And so that would be hard to portray on camera. I certainly don't like moving stuff around for the sake of moving it around. I used to work factory work. I worked in a factory called Space Saver, and they made high density mobile shelving. They used to have these railroad tracks, and you'd put these shelves on them, and the shelves could expand or move back depending on what you wanted to do. And in fact, we went to Detroit where they made Model T Fords, and one of the car companies, we put some in for their old records in the basement. And it's just, you know, it's like a library of old files, but they would compress them all together.
Yeah.
So anyway, I worked in the paint department there, and I worked with factory guys for a lot of summers. And there were 2 types of factory people: the people that did the work and the people that were there and they effed the dog all day long. They were just there to milk the day. Mm-hmm. They didn't really want to work, and that is certainly not my style of working, just to get through the day, move stuff around, look like I'm busy.
Yeah, that's,
you know, sweep the floor, and when the boss is watching, you're really sweeping, and when the boss ain't watching, you're like sweeping the stuff under the shelves. You know, that ain't what's happening here.
Yep. Exactly.
Sorting with a purpose is what's happening.
Yep.
I wasn't sorting because I didn't know anything else to do. I wasn't sorting because I didn't want to do anything meaningful. I wasn't avoiding listing. So there's a fine line. Mm-hmm. But that, you know, maybe it appeared like I was just like trying to make vlog material or something.
Hey, we got all this backstock. I have to make a vlog. What more should I do about this?
Let's just sort
take
through
it out for fun. Yeah. Woo!
Yeah, let's just take it out for fun. That was no fun, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe some other vloggers, not us, man. That's not where it's at.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think that's a concern here.
Yeah.
But if anybody thinks I'm making money from the vlog compared to making money doing the camera business,
you know, the camera business is just for the vlog. We don't even we're not even in it. The whole vlog is all that we do.
I could quit the vlog today.
It's kind of like this,
and I probably would make more money.
It's kind of like the same concept, like we're a scripted TV show, and we have all this. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a funny concept. I like that idea.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, part of the reason I wanted to do the sort is I wanted an idea of what I have in the storage unit up there that's unsorted, because that's just insane up there.
Yeah.
I needed to have an idea of what a tote's value was, mainly so I could figure out how much farther down the hoarding crazy zombie line I want to go with my retirement funds and hoard some more of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
How much do I want to trust Wheeler is going to be around forever?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what's he worth?
Yep.
I mean, this business would be 100 times better if you didn't have to list anything.
Oh yeah. be great. I mean,
if you could just buy it, look at it, enjoy it, look it up.
We need AI.
And then it's listed, and then maybe you don't even have to pack it. It's sold. You can just go picking
the
again.
AI.
Yeah.
To train the AI. So there's the one good implication.
Where's my Danielle?
Yeah, there you go.
She sells
like Danielle Bergoli.
Like the
cringy whatever person these days. Yeah, I don't know.
The one
Pickers.
that's a rollerblader.
Yeah, American Pickers. They're about the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't watched that show in a while.
Yeah, no.
They're still going.
Mm-hmm.
The Pawn Stars are done.
Mm.
As far as I understand it.
Yeah, and apparently Chum Lee is making more than all of them combined. I guess he's a DJ and some other stuff now. Who knows what he's doing?
Love your videos. Here it is. Here's the question. Where do you source so much camera equipment? It does appear to be a lucrative niche to sell. Oh my gosh. It does appear to be a lucrative niche to sell in. I would like to take my reselling from diverse down to more focused on, say, camera equipment.
Okay, well here's the 500-page thing. We're going to give it to you free, and you can just go and take our business. That's fine. Sure.
Well, we would consider selling our secret.
No, I'm saying just give it to him for free. I mean, like, why not?
Well, yeah, but let's give it to him for free for $50,000.
Oh, there you go. Good idea. No, I'm joking because it's kind of funny how it's worded.
Well, I mean, in reality, we started where everybody else would in the camera business. We went out and ran into it and started looking stuff up, and we started figuring out the niche. You can do this in any niche, and there's got to be 100 niches out there as good as the camera niche.
Yeah,
and there's got to be 1,000 niches that are, B grade to an A grade camera niche.
Yeah.
There's plenty of different niches out there. If you like it, go for it. But where do we get all our stuff? Well, we can't tell you.
Yeah. Well, here's what I was going to say.
Oh.
I mean, I don't like to toot my own horn this much or whatever, but I mean, even if we told you where we get the stuff, even if we told you all our secrets, I mean, could you do this? Probably not. I mean, it's experience, it's knowing what the items are, it's being able to list them in an efficient manner, and having that channel that has sold camera equipment for that long as a backup thing. I mean, sure, you could do okay in it, but I mean, it would take a lot more than just knowing where to get the stuff to propel you into camera.
Well,
camera
our business is lucrative, and it is good, but we've also paid the dues. And like you're saying, I'm not sure if you got into it as deep as we did that you would like it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that it would like you.
Yeah. So I mean, let's tell you where we get all our stuff and whatever. And I mean, I'm not sure you'd do as well as we are, especially immediately. I mean, it would take time. This is only one part of the pie.
I don't think the shortcut to where we get the stuff would help you.
Exactly. That's my main point.
I think the reason we do so well is because we took the journey.
That's it.
And then Negative Nancy here said, my guess is pawn shops.
Yeah, that's where we find everything. I mean, we found one really good pawn shop, and he has everything. I mean, we're just milking him for all he's worth.
Could be.
For a little pawn shop over there, we're just milking the cow.
It could be. Sometimes you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you said one time you used to sell a whole lot of blood sugar test strips and monitors. Then the market tanked a little bit. Is that because Medicare and prescription plans cover those strips and monitors, or something else? Just curious. Well, okay, so there was a time coming out of where I experienced work and business and retail and buying and selling. I investigated some things online. I bought a course. I bought some information on how to buy and sell test strips, diabetic test strips. And so I had a very large buying and selling diabetic test strip business. I probably was not the top 100 in the United States, but I probably was right below that. There are still people around today that make a huge living buying and selling test strips, and they were around when I was doing it big. I still buy and sell test strips, just not nearly as much, and I do not advertise. Here's what happened in a nutshell. The market changed. It got saturated. There were too many people buying them. and so it drove the price down.
Mm-hmm.
And there was always pressure from regulation, and there was always pressure from, hey, this is a real gray area. Over here, you're doing wrong. In the gray area, you're okay. Over here, you're, doing right. And so it was a fine line.
Yeah.
And I did not feel that that would be someplace that I wanted to exist for long term. So I did that for a few years. I quit advertising. Every year it goes down, but I still make a few $1,000s a year from test strips. It's a very lucrative market. A lot of people have diabetic test strips and they don't use them all, and they get thrown out every month.
Mm-hmm.
There are other products like that, and you can get your gears turning. There's a lot of waste in the United States, and if you can harness some of that, that's picking.
Yep, exactly.
So I don't know if that helps. Wheeler, where did you pick up those green totes at?
I don't know. They've appeared over here. I don't know what
there's
happened.
Somebody calling me Wheeler. So I buy most of my my packaging supplies and most of my shelving and all that from Uline. Some of my shelving came from
eBay, something.
eBay or Walmart.com.
Yeah.
All right, I'm on my last beer, and it's just like last show.
Ooh, torpedo.
Look at that. Ooh, that's not Uline. I thought that was Uline. That's Nationwide.
Nationwide is on.
Back to the torpedo. Somebody had a torpedo comment last time.
Yeah.
So if we're in the third beer, it must be the third hour.
Yeah.
1 an hour if you think I'm really going at it here.
Slamming them.
Yeah, I have 1 beer an hour.
Yep.
That's still my favorite.
Mm.
It's got a little citrus bite. It's heavier though, so this might be the end.
Maybe the end. It might not even make it to the end. It might just be like, oh, just out.
I think we're doing better than I thought we were.
I think so. We're doing pretty good.
With those throwaway items, have you thought of doing a mystery box lot?
Just falls sort of into that deception field. I don't think anybody wants a big box of camera garbage. Maybe they do. I don't know. It probably costs more to ship than.
I don't know if there's still this big bunch of vloggers online that every couple of weeks they got to come up with this new fad.
Mm-hmm.
But the mystery box fad was part of the whole online vlogging thing.
I mean, buy the $100,000 mystery box, and half of it was framed and all that.
Why not do like an ice bucket challenge with a mystery box?
Yeah, exactly. just get a mystery box, open it up, and pour it on your head, whatever's in there. Who knows?
Yeah, nobody would want the stuff we throw away.
No.
I mean, I sift pretty heavily, and I don't know if anybody's ever dealt with vintage stuff or vintage camera stuff. There gets a point with some of the stuff that's a little mangy that it stinks.
It's just old stuff. I mean, anybody's dealt with old metal stuff, whatever. And this is small. I mean, it sort of in that same vein.
So
it's old.
There is a cutoff point, and I had another question about that: is where is the cutoff point where your time is no longer valuable? I talked about on another video that I'm analyzing global shipping, and I think we're going to do that for our main eBay channel. I'm also going to analyze the price point and some of the stuff that I've been listing and selling. And part of the reason I've been going through some of the low-end stuff is because I want to pass that on as a training exercise and a starting point for possibly Banana Peeler or Kate, my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I have to be the guinea pig, but there's a point in our stuff where throwing away, I'm convinced, is the best option.
Oh yeah.
Mostly since the volume of stuff that we do.
I'm sure 100 years down the road, this will be the rarest thing ever, and they'll be like, oh, they all got thrown away in 2018. Too bad, so sad, because we only have one left.
There are some regrets. I mean, we can go back to the story of where I threw out some stuff I thought was camera crap, and it turned out...
that's the gold bucket. Whoops.
Well, I threw out like $500-600 worth of little accessories, and I had to go dumpster diving in our own dumpster.
Yep. Yep. Never know. I mean, that's back before we knew camera accessories were quite as good as they are.
But I mean, when
rare things.
When you are listing, we're listing probably today's rate, probably $300,000 a year of camera stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to throw some stuff out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't, you just a hoarder. It gets
Well,
ridiculous.
I mean, you know, you can only sift so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sell used cameras on Amazon? If not, have you ever thought about it? Yes, we've thought about it.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yep. Easy.
Amazon is stricter than eBay.
Mm-hmm.
I like Amazon for things with barcodes that I can put on Amazon and just let them sit in my home inventory and ship them out. What's the term?
I don't know.
Self-fulfilled.
Yeah, whatever that's called. MF. Merchant fulfilled.
Merchant fulfilled.
Yeah.
I like that. If we were to do that, and if we got banned on eBay went down, we probably would look at it more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do it dual purpose, that would take a way to monitor that.
Yeah.
You don't want to double sell stuff. You don't want to double list stuff unless it's easy. There are platforms that do that, but used cameras, I believe they're on there.
Mm-hmm.
81s
Oh,
are
they
on
are.
there for sure.
Oh yeah, they are.
Certain things are on there for sure.
It's a lot of plug and play stuff. I mean, it's like it comes with a lens, a camera, the lens caps, the manual, the case, and then you pull it out of the box for $180. That's ready to shoot. I mean, that's about where it's at as far as I can tell. There's a lot of stuff listed on that. I bet we could list probably 95% of what we list on eBay on Amazon, but
We'd have to change.
It'd be a big adjustment.
We'd
like
have
just
to
an
adjust.
insane adjustment. It would be a lot different.
We're geared for eBay at this
Mhm.
point, and we would have
I'm
to
so
adjust.
experienced with eBay. I mean, it would be a
So-
lot different.
30 days after, let's say, not working with eBay, after 30 days, could we be calibrated and working on Amazon? I think so.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And financially, can I weather a 30-day storm? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah. It's a backup plan, but it's not happening right now. There's no reason for it to.
I do want to develop our own website.
Mm-hmm.
There's several. Well, there's probably 5 big name used camera sites out there, and then there's probably 100 secondary.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just under. I mean, ones almost nobody knows about.
Right. So I think we could be number 6 on that list of 5
Mm-hmm.
if we wanted to be.
But I mean, you look at all those sites and the success rate. Sure, they get a lot listed up there, and sure they sell a lot and they have a good reputation. But they sell stuff so low. I don't see any that are selling stuff premium or anything like that. I just can't imagine they'd be able to exist better than on eBay on any standalone
Well, that's
site.
why we stick on eBay right now.
It's just such a.
it's the best thing
so much more
going.
exposure, especially
Yeah.
the international exposure. Especially, I mean, just it's so much different.
It's the easiest way for us to do business
Yeah.
right now.
Absolutely.
Hey. So I've been watching your videos for quite a while, and I know the nicknames Wheeler, Dealer, Banana Peeler, and even Squealer.
Wow. Far in.
Yeah. What I have not heard are the nicknames of your other children, and also will there be an updated intro with all the nicknames? I'm sure it would be a mouthful, but would be fun to hear.
Man, that'd be quite a mouthful to have nicknames for all 8 of them.
Right?
That'd be crazy.
All 8 of us.
Yeah, all
Well,
8 of us. Yeah. Pretty
I think
crazy.
I've talked about this before, and I don't mean this in any sort of like flippant way or whatever. These videos are as much for us as they are for you, and I just don't have the time.
Yeah,
I
I just
would-
came up with the names for the $1.50K challenge to be kind of like a TV show or something
Yeah.
like that, and
And
it
to
was all in jest. It was
and to
kinda fun.
protect our identities.
Yeah.
I mean, I care about my kids. I even have a little bit of a stigmatism about putting my kids on the camera because you don't know who's watching.
Yeah.
So I don't, but the point is, if this was my livelihood, I certainly would put a lot more into polishing it.
Mhm.
But it's more of an outlet for us. It is interesting to get some back and forth between everyone watching and us. There's a little money involved as far as clicks and stuff like that. It's nothing to get excited about, and it certainly is an experience.
Oh yeah.
But the nicknames are fun.
Yeah, developing the channel lore is not really top on our list.
No.
I mean, sure, some people enjoy that kind of stuff, but...
Yeah, if it was a hobby, I would enjoy it. I really do it for personal motivation of sorts, and personal accountability, and group dynamic accountability.
Yeah.
And also, I do like to be part of the reseller community, and I do like giving back.
Yep.
I'm that kind of person for whatever reason. I don't exactly know why.
Yeah.
But I don't have nicknames that I'm going to give on camera for my other family members.
Yeah.
I'm saying that mostly funny, but it's not that I don't think
The
that
nicknames are still secret.
Yeah, I don't think
We have
that's,
them all, they're just...
It's not a bad question.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a bad thing for us to do. I mean, look, I've watched like the Shaytards, and I think, oh, there's a interesting family, ha ha, hoo hoo hoo. I mean, they made millions of dollars doing their videos. You know, what's the other dude out there?
Roman Atwood.
Roman Atwood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his life. Everything's all perfect in his life.
Yep.
You know, even his downs are scripted, blah, 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 blah. He's making millions of dollars. He's driving a $200,000 car.
Yeah.
So that just isn't what this is. To do that level of commitment to what you're doing, you got to give something else up.
Yeah, and you also really have to be into it. I mean, it takes a certain type of person to do that. I mean, it's not saying that not everybody can do it, but I think that would be it's a lot harder for some people to do that than others.
Well, I got to choose my battles.
Yeah.
So it's a fair question.
Yeah. It is.
Well, we're not a fake family, and
and
I've had that comment. I mean, nobody's ever said, "Oh, Wheeler Dealer, what stupid names? Why would you ever even come up with anything like that?" I mean, those are fake names, but we're as real as it gets.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we first came up with them, I
us.
mean, they fit the personalities. I mean, Wheeler Dealer, Banana Peeler, he's goofy, whatever. I mean, look at him. It fits.
Yeah, it did.
And then
fit.
Squealer, I mean, he was a little squealer at the point, so it makes sense, yeah.
Right.
I mean, they just fit at the time.
So maybe that will change. You never know. You never know. I can relate to space constraints. I have had a small warehouse in the past, but prefer to have a home business. Do you have the possibility of adding more space to your home, i.e. second story, addition? We already have a second story.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can
addition,
make a skyscraper.
External structure, a skyscraper. Unfortunately, my home is on a small lot. Best wishes, Stephen. Well, I got a couple things working on my cash flow. One is 6 kids, and they eat. And they're all growing older, and we got a lot of hobbies that gobble up our money. We like to travel. My inventory, I got this tiger by the tail. I got to keep buying inventory. We like to drive nice cars. I have a big lot. I have a place to put a building. What we really want to do is upgrade to a bigger, better house. But because of the self-employed thing, I can't qualify for the house that I could afford, and so we're having to save cash up on that. We may end up putting a building on the lot. We've looked at that. We may end up buying a farmstead with a building already on it. I would rather do that because I don't really want to build anything. I'm not a builder. So we've looked at, and we're looking at a lot of those things. I don't want to... Ooh,
man, watch out.
Ooh. I don't want to leverage myself any more than I have to either.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, I've been in the position of borrowing too much money in my life, and I had to pay for that. And it took me from a position of being able to run a business to having to go work for somebody. And personally, I don't want to ever have to go back to that. And so I'm very cautious about some of the big purchases that I make. So your question is a good one. I'm looking at it because obviously the space constraints we have are challenging. The struggle will make you tougher.
I like the idea of like a hoarder rat nest skyscraper. Like you see some of those big crazy buildings in India, like where it's just stacked boxes and all kinds of, it just looks insane. That's what you need as a house. I mean, that'd be really
Well, I've looked at several buildings and old abandoned schools and other things, but I also have a nice wife that doesn't want to live there.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of different constraints.
Yep.
So I'm sure change will happen eventually. Wheeler has developed into quite a camera expert. Why, thank you. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Now they think you're
Ah,
Wheeler.
darn it. He's actually the camera expert. This is a whole role reversal.
It's a whole
thing.
facade.
Yeah, there you go.
It will be interesting to see what area experts Kate and Banana Peeler become in the future, which will diversify the family business. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and that hasn't been revealed yet. I'm not convinced that Kate doesn't have something different or bigger in her future, although the offer will be there to work with me. She hasn't glommed on anything like you did.
Yeah.
Banana Peeler either. Now he's still pretty young.
Has his paper route like that? I don't know.
Well, he also has a different skill set than either you or I.
Oh yeah.
And
He's
so
a totally different personality type thing.
and
too.
a different personality too. And so we're not sure yet. But it will be interesting to see.
The buckle master.
Well, you could make
buys and sells all the $400 belt buckles.
You could make a business on belt buckles. The way you would have to do it is some sort of collection device, and you'd have to find out where they all end up and the retail places for those. You'd have to explore all options.
So not only we have to buy a bunch, and that I think it would actually be worth it to start a YouTube channel, start some sort of new movement, and start the hype for belt buckles to bring the young people back into it too.
Make your own.
I mean, the deal is, I just feel like the belt buckles are kind of for the older generation. I mean, you'd have to. Yeah, it'd be cool if you could actually figure out how to start the trend again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason we buy and sell belt buckles is because we find them out here. They're available to us out here. When we went to other places in the country, they're not as available.
Yeah, you see the guys wearing them, not as many for sale.
Well,
I don't know about that. But
no, the belts out here with the farmers and the cowboys, and just the western near west look out here. There's more of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Saying, man, you gotta become the fashion icon and have a belt buckle on, like front and center, so then you start selling them, and then you have all the back stock to throw out there and start selling for quadruple. To become the belt buckle master.
I probably buy and sell 200 belt buckles a year. For a week. It's more of an investment than anything. So I don't know what percentage I'm making on putting my money in belt buckles. I don't know if it's 10% a year, 20% a year, 30, 40, 50% a year. It's a pretty good investment.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as the camera business.
No.
Wow, look at that. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Question
spelled out. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Got a question.
Yeah. In the past, when you had your commercial space, Banana Peeler would be listing belt buckles, hats, cars, etc. I think I might have seen him doing that once in the newer videos, but it looks like he has been shifted to packing only. Does he still list the smaller items for the general eBay channel, or no? If not, is it because you offered the packing job and rather him just be doing that for now, or does he not want to do that also beyond the packing work? Thanks for the topics as always. They make me think about my business as well, even though I am just a one-man operation. Well, I bought 6 or 7 belt buckles, for example, at the flea market, and tomorrow will be Saturday. I've already offered Banana Peeler to list those if he wants to. He can list those tomorrow night and then hang out with us after listing tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So Banana Peeler is still doing some listing. He has a lot of other things going on. He's 14. Let's stop.
Yeah, I was gonna stop there.
He's 14 years old. I can name some of the things he likes that I don't think harm his his persona. He likes playing basketball and football. He runs probably now an average 5 days a week of 3-4 miles a day.
Yeah, which is funny. At first, he was so negative and everything on that. Now he's into it, which is good.
He loves it, yeah.
Which is good.
Well, it helps his other sports.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably the most gifted sports kid that we have.
I mean, I feel with Warm everything. I have more endurance, but he's got the just raw, all-around talent.
Yeah, he's got precision and skill and things like that, and his body type is a little more towards that. I mean, don't take that wrong.
No, I'm just saying, I think I have the long distance, and then he has the different.
It'd be interesting to see. I think if you put him in one group and us in one group, both you and I have the determination to do whatever it takes to train hard enough to win a race. He has more raw talent.
Like he beat me at the 5K, and I beat him at the 5 mile and 10 mile.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, so he has a paper route
that
he shares with his brother. He has some friends in the neighborhood that he hangs out with, and he has school. And so I offered him the packing job, and he probably does, don't get me wrong, he probably does 60% of the packing, 50-60% of the packing, some days more, some days less. I do the rest. That's a good fit for him with the time that he has. We haven't been buying quite as much general merchandise lately. We're going to be buying some general merchandise over the next month just because of some of the picking adventures that we go on, and Banana Peeler will go with us. He'll probably be listing some more. So when he has time, we have him do that. He's pretty good at listing. He's pretty good at packing. He's diligent at packing. Most of the time I can just turn him loose, and we haven't had that much problem, so that's good. And he's very on top of it, which that just takes a certain personality to not get strayed from that.
For sure.
He doesn't like start at 8 in the morning and go till midnight packing when he wants to. He gets it done right there, and that's what's needed. Yeah. But he's, he doesn't, you don't have school. Yeah. Wheeler likes to stretch his day.
Yep. So, exactly.
I don't know if that helps.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking you, but I don't think Wheeler. I don't think you would enjoy packing.
No, I don't know. I've tried it before. It's back when I used to pack it too tight, and now I sort of know better. But it's interesting. Yeah. It would take it'd be a little bit of a learning curve.
Well, you got different.
Not one of my skill sets.
Yeah, you got different gifts. I don't think Banana Peeler will ever become a camera expert like you. Yeah. Now, he might find something else that he's really interested in. He does have a certain take stuff apart, mechanical aptitude. He likes to do stuff without the instructions, though. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I don't think that's the worst. No, thing. It isn't. I mean, that's but the results that you get aren't always the results that you want.
Not exactly the most with it in some things. Like he rides my bike every day, and then I find it has a flat tire and a broken chain a week later because he didn't pay attention. I mean, he's driving the thing, he doesn't notice anything about it. So. Right. It's a little bit different mechanical perception.
And I'm not trying to pick on you and defend him.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's different. It's the whole thing again. Different personalities, different skill sets, different types of things.
As the father of this crew, there's never a dull moment.
All different mixes.
Is this beard gray for a reason? I don't know. Graying. I never thought that would be the place. Yeah. I don't have any gray I don't have to wash the gray out of my hair anywhere else. Oh well. You guys are definitely in the thick of it. That's an understatement. I understand it's been a success whether you actually hit the number or not, but I gotta ask, can you realistically hit the number?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I was gonna say, like, with the $1 to 50K challenge, it was kind of the same deal. It's how much concentration and stuff are you willing to put into it to make it happen. I mean, in theory it's possible, but I mean, in practice, it is how it is.
I found that in life, if you put a low goal in front of yourself and you hit that goal, but it's a low goal, you know, it's not a waste of time.
Yeah.
But, you know, so what? Everybody does that.
Yeah, I'm going to list one item a day.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
going to buy one item, sell one item, and list one item a day.
We will have some more talk about our momentum contest, and we're wrapping it up this month. And I certainly hope we're going to have a flurry of activity the next 3 weeks and make a big dent in this big number.
Yep.
But with that said, we're achievers, and so we got to put out almost seemingly unrealistic goals.
Yeah.
And I'll have a lot of statistics and numbers and wrap-ups and all that kind of stuff on this particular goal. We're not going to make $200,000 in new listed items.
Yep.
By the end of this month. We're not going to. But I think we're going to hit a reasonable number.
Yep.
Right, Wheeler?
Exactly.
But the thing is, if you expand your mind to bigger and bigger and bigger goals, you will find that you will get more out of your day.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hit more than you thought possible. And you'll learn something about yourself. And you'll find some ways to achieve more. Work smarter, not harder. Anybody can work a 100-hour week, maybe 2 in a row, and then burn out. But the person that can work 30 to 50 hours a week in their profession and learn how to do it better and make a little more money and have a little more fun, that's probably what we want to do.
Yep.
And we're trying that as an exercise. We've never done this kind of a goal before.
Yep.
And so, you know, you get to see it here live. So there you go.
Yep.
Everybody's going to turn off now. They're like, oh shit, they're not going to hit momentum. You didn't hit momentum.
Not even worth watching. We're
Not
fake.
even worth
Fake.
watching.
Fake.
Dang it. We're
You suck.
2 hours plus into this video.
Darn
By the way, I'm keeping the best for last, so don't
Like, we haven't got some of those comments yet. Like,
don't tune out.
let's see, what do those people usually leave? Like, give me my 2 hours back or something.
Yeah.
You wasted 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. I mean,
Well,
I see those some videos. It's funny.
I have got some comments like, 3 hours for a video? Are you kidding?
And then we get some people like, 6 hours is too little. Put more.
I do have one person watching that.
Yeah.
I don't think this video will be long enough for them.
Yeah.
I don't.
Different types of people.
Well, yeah. Some people are glutton for punishments. The Wheeler and Dealer punishment video. Question. You often discuss listing new items. However, how do you track how long you have existing eBay inventory? How do you determine what to relist and at what price? Who does the relisting of existing inventory? Well, I do all the relisting. And for the most part, we have been structured and forced into 30-day listings. That's what all of our listings, other than a few auctions that we list, every listing we have stops and starts after 30 days. And actually, in a way, that's better because it used to be camera listings were 10 days and everything else was 30.
Yeah.
Because of the new promotions manager and the way that that's structured, I've went to 30-day listings. After 30 days, I relist everything, but I reduce the price 5%.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. Do I track existing eBay stuff? This year was the second time we went through the camera inventory and weeded out some stuff. We did one years ago and got rid of a bunch of stuff that wasn't selling. I had Banana Peeler pull up all the listings that were 2 years old or older and put them in a tote, and I went through them and weeded them out. I either repriced them, relisted them because they had fallen through the cracks, or thrown them out.
Yeah.
And so we will do something like that from time to time. But if I wanted to really quantify how we handled that, we just keep looking forward, listing new items, and we don't look back.
We leave the wake.
The wake is behind us, and we just keep reducing the price. And we did that once, a few years ago so bad that we actually were losing money on a few items.
Yeah.
Because it would be like a 4 or 5 pound item, and it would be like $11.
Reduce.
Free shipping.
Reduce. Yeah.
And
reduce
so
right off the cliff.
I'd ship something to Alaska for sure, and it'd be $11 free shipping, and I'd end up paying $20 for shipping.
Yeah.
And I'd be like losing $9.
No wonder you bought it from Alaska. It must be a troll.
Yeah. So we don't do much of that anymore.
Yeah.
We don't typically list anything over 4 or 5 pounds without putting a weight on it. So we've gotten smarter.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You'd hope so.
Hey, Stump.
Ooh.
More on Ville Pickers. More to come.
Coming soon.
More on Ville Pickers.
More on Ville Pickers later.
Yeah. Inside jokes.
More on the Ville Pickers.
Okay, on your next Q&A. Oh, the next one?
Wow.
You can't do it this one.
Darn it.
Okay, next question. On your next Q&A, can you talk about the photo tent your daughter uses to take your listing pictures and where you found it, etc.?
It's good for a like small form factor photo tent. I have one in my office that's a little bit smaller version of that.
What's yours? 20 by 20 by 20?
16 by 16, I think.
Okay, yours is 16 by 16. That one over there has got to be
20 something.
24.
Yeah, I was gonna say 24, 26. Yeah, makes
24 by 24 by 24. Where did we buy those?
BH Photo Video is where I bought mine, and you bought yours the same place?
B and H.
No, it's bhphotovideo.com.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's B&H Photo, but the website name is actually just BH.
Now that one down there, I like it. I personally do not like any lighting LED. That's just something I don't like.
Yeah, Mercury and whatever.
Well, I
Whatever
have
symbol
flashlights that use
heats
it,
up
and
and
that thing's LED.
LPSs.
Well, whatever. But they are LED. They're very bright. They're very white. I think that one was like, what, $60, $80?
I think it's a little more than that. I don't remember. I thought it was over 100 for that one. Mine was about 80.
I think we got a pretty good deal on it.
Yeah.
I used to take pictures at my commercial location. In my office, I had good commercial location fluorescent lights, and I took them on sort of a white table. And the lighting was probably 5 out of 10, but I did that.
Yeah.
And then in my office in the house here, I installed some sort of lighting that I could turn on and off independent of my regular lighting. And it's probably like 6 or 7 out of 10. And I was using that for the first year we were here. Now I come down and use this tent.
Yeah.
Because it's so much better.
Yeah, so I can see your response to how you like the tent. For me, I mean, it's really bright. It's really usable. I had 2 options in my office because how small it was. And, I mean, they weren't that great options. I mean, I had continuous lighting or flash lighting. I used flash for a while. And that was even a big thing because I had like this giant light stand that took up half my office and it was stretching over whatever. It worked pretty well, but it wasn't ideal. And then I found this, and I mean, it works pretty well. It's a good 8 out of 10.
Wheeler is
for fancy
a
photos.
mad scientist.
Yeah, as a photographer, it satisfies what I need to do there.
Part of Wheeler is mad scientist.
Yeah, well, it has to be. I mean, you can't spend.
You're
$2,000.
experimental.
Can't spend $2,000 on a crazy light setup. I got to have the cheap one.
Yeah.
So,
well, part of the reason that you're good at camera stuff is because you're willing to play around with it and mess around with it.
I didn't come into it with $100,000 and ready to buy all the high-end stuff.
No.
I came in from the bottom and tried to figure out what works and what doesn't, and what I need and what I don't.
Here's just a funny thing. We sell camera stuff to broke college students.
Yeah.
All the way up to the guys and gals that are millionaires.
Yeah, exactly.
That have $50,000 or $100,000 in their camera setup, and they buy something from us.
Yeah, it's their assistant buying for them.
Assistants buying for them. We run into that.
Assistant's assistant.
Yeah, or, well, I mean, I've sold stuff to the, the title of the person was Prince of somewhere.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and the address matched. It's, we have sent stuff to the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Actors.
Well, exactly. Movie sets, that kind of thing.
Movie sets.
Here's another thing I was thinking, though. Like, we send, what would you call that? Concierge service? You send something sort of like that. I mean, you send this guy on the coast who's going to send it to Japan, and then the guy's going to
they buy,
clean
they're
it
buyers.
up and put it
They're
in there.
buyers.
Yeah, they're buyers for the buyers.
For somebody else.
Yeah.
Buyers for the rich.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it's one step above where we're selling stuff. I mean, this is like the top pinnacle, whatever. We're selling to that guy who's selling it in his pinnacle store.
How did we get into that?
I don't know, just a lighting tent thing.
It's pretty weird how we got into
Yeah, it's a
But,
tangent.
Yeah, tangent.
Well, I mean, let's see, what was I don't remember what happened there. Who knows?
Well,
tangents.
I mean, you can sell the lighting tent makes our stuff look, even though, we piece stuff together and we're working out of a house or whatever, you can make your stuff look as professional for all those levels of buyers.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. It works. I guess that's what we're saying. The photo tent works. It sells stuff for us.
Here's a comment. I always learn something from your videos. I really enjoy them. I will be implementing a momentum board of my own soon. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave a shout out. Oh my gosh, 2 to the same person
Ooh.
now. Tennessee Picker, check him out.
Yep.
Tennessee Picker. He's using the momentum board. He's got it going. Good for you.
Yeah, there's one last thing on the photo tent. There are people with better photo tent setups than what I have here. I'm super space limited in my office, so this was perfect for me. Other people, if you have a full standalone room, if you have a big table you can set up and have this big lighting thing, you can probably get better photos. Just the way I do it. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, it works, it's space efficient. What more can you want?
Onto the momentum board.
Yeah.
If you're not tracking how much you list a day, you should.
Yep.
It's eye-opening.
Yeah.
Dealer has a laugh and humorous mannerisms that remind me of someone, and it's been driving me nuts. I finally realized it's David Letterman.
Whoa. I didn't even know that was you.
It's funny.
Apparently.
This
is a TV show.
There was a streak in my life, and Letterman was on TV, I think, since the 80s.
Yeah.
And I tuned in early on for a year maybe when I watched him. The problem is it was too late at night for me at that point. And I think I started watching him for that year because somebody in my study period was a Letterman head. And then obviously everybody knows who David Letterman is, but have you seen him lately with this weird ass huge I'm a weird old guy beard?
I think I have, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little out there. We're not philosophically on the same page, but if that works for you, whatever.
Yeah. From that era.
Well, and that might be part of it. He's probably
a little bit older than you, I think.
Yeah, he's older than me, but from the same era where he started right when I was a teenager, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's my personal thoughts on having a specific store, meaning an eBay store with a specific item or item category. As an eBay buyer for 20 or so years, I can count on one hand the number of times I have went into somebody's store and browsed. I search for whatever item I want at that time and decide which of those items I want to buy. So far, I very rarely went to that person's store and browsed. Maybe some people do, but 20 years in and it's only happened a couple of times. Those times were not because I had browsing their stores for stuff, but because I was being nosy and trying to set up my own store. LOL. I'm guessing most buyers don't. If you have flowers and car parts, 90% of buyers won't even know. Mm-hmm. But it is possible that you might lose those other two sales. You might lose those other two sales. I do see how being in a very specialized field such as vintage cameras could be different, but if you're selling air fryers and curtains and such, I doubt it matters. By the way, love the channel. Okay, so
a lot of thoughts on that. Yep.
I'm sure you do, and I'll hit this one. cameras, vintage cameras, here's how it's different. If we buy a whole bunch of Rolly camera stuff, Rolly's a brand.
Pretty specialized brand.
Stuff, pretty specialized brand. If we run into a bunch of that stuff and list it out, there are going to be Rolly collectors and users that stumble on that, and they're going to be like, here's the mother load. And so they will explore our store. I also have a general merchandise store where I know it's just like you're saying, where people come in and they buy the toner, and they're like, that's all I wanted to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
They buy a tin toy, and it's like, maybe they'll look around for a minute, and then they're gone. But I get it. I get it. The other thing that we get from being a camera channel on eBay, and at this point we're trying to become a more specialized higher-end vintage camera channel, higher-end items, we become the expert.
Yep.
And that is valuable for selling things that are a little bit higher tested, researched, better return policy, all that stuff. That gives us a bump in what we can price stuff for, and people recognize that and they come back for that. So that's the difference.
Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts on this, because basically it's like a niche store versus a general store is a completely different thing in my opinion. Like, coming from a collector's perspective in a lot of cases, which is probably, I'd even say it's half of what we sell on the camera channel, would almost be a collector's aspect for people. Like, either they collect it to use or they're collecting it to collect. And I can sort of relate to that thing, because like with vintage cubes, vintage Rubik's cubes and things like that, when I'm looking for stuff, I'm looking really hard for that one seller who has, I can go to a store and he has a bunch of really rare, hard to find stuff, and that's the guy I'm looking for, the guy who doesn't know what he has and just has a bunch of it. So it can sort of be like that, I think, with the camera channel too. Somebody's looking for Rolly stuff. I mean, we sold like 10 to whatever Rolly filters at a time to the same guy at some points, and I just think it's a lot different with that kind of stuff.
I think if you're a buyer for 20 years, but you're like a general buyer, like one time you're after...
You're buying toner, one time you're buying...
Yeah, you got all kinds of different things that you're buying that would be similar to all kinds of things that another person would be buying. I could see the thought pattern, but if you were into something specific and were searching for that and found somebody who was selling it, you might scour it.
Yeah.
Now, there's also a thing called the 80-20 rule, and it applies to a lot of different things. I think it applies to people who come to our camera store. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the people that come to our camera store don't search it. They find the one thing, goodbye. The other 20% though, and I can tell this because I still pack the orders, are repeat buyers. They're always coming back to see what new things we have for whatever camera things they collect.
Yeah.
We've had people that have been buying for us for 8 years, and they might buy something once a month from us, and they keep coming back and coming back.
I think the 80-20 is very fair, because I don't think it's like the 98-2, like you were saying, at least in the camera market. I mean, the niche market, whatever, the camera stuff, it's different. So it's kind of interesting. See, I had one more thing there, if I can get it up again. I had it.
Oh, man, old man.
I lost it.
Disease.
Well, here it is. I'm looking for camera stuff all day long, you know, when I'm looking up stuff to resell and all that. And I guarantee you, I run into the same 10 sellers every single day, and it's all the other big camera sellers on the platform. It's all the other big camera sellers on the platform, and I guarantee you, people who look for camera stuff often, who are looking to buy, who are hobbyists, I mean, they probably buy, let's say, 10 things a month off eBay, camera related. They're running into us all the time too. So it's the name, and in that case, the channel, and they're like, well, I bought from him before, might as well go check what he has. I mean, just as long as you have kind of a fluid inventory, and it's that thing, it's the collector versus consumer mentality, in my opinion.
The other way that we've validated the idea of having a channel that's just vintage cameras is probably with our feedback, because people will leave us feedback, happy as always, quick shipping as always. We can tell that they're repeat buyers by the feedback.
Oh yeah. And sometimes you'll have somebody international who wants a combined shipping discount, and they'll buy 6 things. I mean, it is interesting how that all works out.
And we do have some wholesale buyers, a lot of them. I can think of 10 in the last year where they're like, you know, it's a $600 order to another country, and they're buying 6 high-end items from us, and so they want a little bit of a discount. Because it's 6 items, we might give it to them.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with your point of view, and there definitely is something to be said for that. But it's also, there are different markets, and I think that
I would think the watch one would be another one.
It would be. I mean, there's watch collectors that have 100 watches, kind of like me, but
I don't know any of those.
No, I don't know anybody like that.
Great video dealer. Do they mean you?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. We could really start confusing them. Let's
dealer.
start switching it all up. Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't even
your
know
channel and all of your videos have inspired me to switch gears with my vocation. I'm determined to be completely self-employed by the end of this year. I'm tired of working for someone else with all of the limitations that brings. I must be living a life by design. More questions to follow. Thanks.
Hoorah!
Yeah, well, go for it.
Yeah.
First of all. But my second bit of advice is this. Oh, as my sandal, my flip-flop falls off. You got to do what it takes, because I used to say, okay, by the time I'm 30 years old, I'm going to be a millionaire. By the time I'm 40 years old, I'm going to be a millionaire. I used to think, okay, I can just jump out of what I'm doing and start this business and everything's going to be great. It's a race to entrepreneurship until it's a journey. And, Wheeler here actually fell into this by birth, and I've been trying to, beat him up enough to season him so he can stand alone.
Yeah.
That's hard. But coming from working for somebody else, use that as a driving force, but always make your transition natural. You're going to have to do double work or time and a half work until the fit is right. Don't make it an unnatural knee-jerk move. Make it a smarter move and give something else up besides your main income until the move is right. Now, don't overstay your stay in your job. When the time is right, make the move.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have 2 things on that also. If you are financially stable, if you have plenty of money to quit your job and then figure this whole thing out, go for that. And you want to do that, go for it. But otherwise, I mean, it's kind of usually used as a demeaning statement, but don't quit your day job. They usually say, like, if you're a musician or a whatever, and you want to go do that and you don't seem that good at it or whatever, and that it sort of does apply in that case. I mean, don't quit your job until you're off the ground in the other thing, in some cases. And like Dealer said, like, quit at the right time. Like, know that time.
Now, mentally, when you are working your business, you need to be working your business and not be worrying about your job. Now, you still have to wake up the next day and go to your job. And there is something to be said. There's a story in history, and I don't know if it's the Spartans or it's some super fighting force and some super general. And the general, it's a well-known story. I just am
Trojan horse?
No,
it's a different one.
I'm just not as sharp. I'm not as sharp in specifics.
Yeah.
I have a very general knowledge, and I just like to be that way. But anyway, I know the story. The story is this general and his men went to a fight, and they came across on their boat, and they landed, and they're getting ready to fight. And the people, the soldiers, are like, okay, we can go fight, or we can get on our boat and go away. And the general said, no, we're not going away. We're going to fight. And he burnt the damn boats.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that one, yeah.
And so at that point, that sent a message that they ain't got nowhere to go.
They're going back,
The soldiers are not going back. The general ain't going back. He just burnt the boats. Let's go and take care of business. Okay, so there's something to be said for that. And I personally have done that a couple of times, even with a big family, even with not much income, even with some debt, even with some bills, even with some food needs to be on the table. When I was a younger guy, those batteries don't last as long.
No.
Those generic ones.
Nope.
But the point is, be willing to have to go back to work if it doesn't work out. Have a plan B until you're embedded enough and good enough and got the savings enough to make it go, go, go. So be flexible.
Exactly. And one last thing there, I mean, build your stepping stone path that's going to take to succeed while you're still in the job thing. Like, plan to go on the stepping stone path, but you can put some of the steps in place ahead of time before you completely jump ship and jump in there.
Flexible planning.
If you've set out the lifeboat before you jump in the water, you might have a better chance of survival.
But be a tiger.
Yeah.
Okay, let's change batteries.
No, we're back live. Oh man, the ogres are back on screen.
trying to put you back. We had like a 70-minute break there and tried to put yourself back into the video.
Oh, I see what's going on.
I'm kidding. Okay, so
next week.
more questions to come. Well, bring them on. We'll talk about growing a business with no mention of financing. You could fund the growth from profits, or you can put it on steroids. Well, okay, so growth from profits is great. If I was a single guy and could live in a crap hole apartment, and I was smart when I was young, and built it from there, and lived on the cheap, great way to build this business. If you are somewhere else along your line, you got a mortgage, you got kids, you got college payments, you got car payments, you got all kinds of stuff going on. You don't have a ton of savings, you get good in this thing, and you want to expand your business, you might need to explore some financing for inventory. I would not go backwards to get into this business, but if you are comfortable buying something for $20,000 financing that's going to sell for 60, 80, 100,000, and then you're diligent about getting it going, have at it, but you got to be comfortable with it. That's the bottom line. So growth from profits, best way.
Yeah.
Growth with financing has it has some risk.
Yep.
What's your risk tolerance? Have I grown my business only from profits, only from cash? No, I've used financing from time to time. So you'll have to decide.
Yep.
You'll have to decide. Most businesses, I can't hold up that finger, borrow money. Most businesses are in the frickin' world. So that doesn't mean you have to be. Smarter decision. If I had, let's say my engineering thing would have worked out. If I was in my engineering job like my buddy right now, my buddy from college, 30 years removed from college, is making 6 figures plus. I believe his wife is too. If I was coming from that position to wanting to get into the seller's world, I would build it from cash. When I came into this business 10 years ago, I had failed. I was coming from flatline. I had lots of credit and no cash. And I made the decision to borrow a little money to get going. I had nothing to lose. I was willing to take the consequences. I was out in the jobs that I could get, and I realized those were dead ends. I took the risk. Here I am.
Yep.
Not everybody's going to make it. But if you go into that situation knowing the risks, you decide to do it, make sure you know the risks, do what you got to take. Now, on the other end of that, if tomorrow somebody approaches me with the deal of a lifetime, $150,000 worth of camera gear, the deal of a lifetime, I can't pass it up. I will go borrow money to buy it. Because I can move it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you have the knowledge in place, you know 100%, I mean, you're confident in your abilities to move this stuff, why not? If it makes sense.
But make sure it makes sense. And that, the idea of numbers like I'm throwing out, 5,000, 10,000, 20, 50, 150,000, if those scare you, They should. Those are big decisions. Those are not something that I'm throwing about lightly. Make your own decisions. Borrowing $1,000 for some people can be a big decision.
Mm-hmm.
Spending $1,000 on inventory, whether you have cash or whatever, can be a big decision for somebody. It should be. This is business. This is not like frivolous gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So make your moves wisely.
You're not riding the bus, you're driving a race car.
So I think I talked about growing a business for like an hour on one of my Friday episodes, and all my Friday episodes, I could go off in a lot of different directions. Sometimes I choose different directions. I'm making the videos,
Mm-hmm.
So if you who asked this question want to make a video on financing your business, you should. Send me a link. Nice video. I think Banana Peeler may have out-thrifted you. LOL.
Won't be the first time.
Well,
Got a good eye.
he's got a good eye.
He's in there first. He's motivated.
He's a good-looking little kid, and those 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old ladies like to sell him stuff cheap.
Yep. Same with me back in the day.
Back in the day.
That's how I started the business. I mean, I got this camera. I didn't have $1. Mom had 40 cents of change in her purse. And I bought this camera, this film camera. I used it for a little while. I mean, I bought it to use. I didn't buy it to resell. This was a long time ago. This was my first camera ever. Bought at a garage sale. So I bought it. I used it for a little while. It didn't work 100%. That's why he sold it so cheap. I sold the lens 2 years later for $140. So it's one of those deals, but kind of funny.
Cute kids get better deals.
Exactly. I think I had a price at $5 or something. So I mean, first I offered $1, and then Mom did she wasn't gonna give me $1 for it. So,
you and I.
If you can go back to the sale and get for this change, I'll give it to you.
You and I have to work better. You and I have to work harder for better deals.
That's it.
Days.
Yep.
You
gotta meld with them. You gotta get in with their thinking. You gotta say, I'm thinking what you're thinking. Here's the deal I have to do for this, and then give me the deal.
My big dealer play these days is I've got the money. I want to buy what you have. If we can't name a price, I'm just going to keep bundling stuff to it until you agree with me.
That's the dealer thing. I mean, you're making a deal.
Right.
Yep.
That's my play, but it's certainly not because I'm cute.
Banana Peeler is a different thing.
He's got a different vibe.
But also, he's found some good deals that we hadn't found.
Oh, he's persistent.
Yeah.
He's in the game.
Mm-hmm. He is.
Wheeler, on your video games, do you usually don free shipping, or does it depend on the games?
Yeah. I don't know.
They're talking to me.
I don't play video games. I know. I'm joking. Yeah.
Or they're calling me Wheeler again.
Yeah.
So, whether I do free shipping or paid shipping, on Amazon, I'm set up to do free shipping on everything. It's just because I'm ignorant and haven't set up all these shipping platforms on there. They got a bunch of shipping rules you can set up on Amazon. I do free shipping, but it doesn't matter if I'm at $25 and somebody else is at $20 plus $5 shipping. We're both at the same thing. So really, whether I'm free shipping or not, I'm always aiming to be equivalent to where everybody else is on a commodity item like video games.
There are definitely different thought patterns to the free shipping versus paid shipping thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's all within just a small box. It all is about the same.
Yeah. There is a certain mental edge, I think, you give a buyer. If you have free shipping, they relax a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's a mental edge to either way, because they're like, oh, I know it costs shipping, so I'll pay that.
True.
And I'm paying less for the actual item. I mean, I think there's different buyers think differently, different sellers think differently. It all kind of evens out.
I don't think it hurts us either way.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. I don't think there's a huge difference.
But on video games, where it's a commodity, where there's 30 of them listed, typically I'm trying to be the cheapest at the quality level and what I have.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see a video game for 99 cents plus $6 shipping, and maybe that'll trick somebody. I don't know what. They're trying to pull half of them.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Interesting.
I'm stuck right now at the $6,500 a month in gross sales level after 1.5 years full-time on eBay. Can't find enough decent stuff in my area. I'm driving 2.5 hours away to a major city every Friday to go to estate sales, buying anything I can make money on. It's helped my sales, but not enough. I need to grow. I'd like to get into a niche. I don't see one that I can adequately source. Frustrating. I can't even get past 875 items in my store. I sell, post, same amount of stuff each week. I've stopped buying low profit items, trying to get my average sale up. It's helped some. Treading water, not making progress. There has to be stuff at these estate sales I'm overlooking that I can branch into selling, but I can't see it. I run into a lot of older women's stuff at estate sales. None of it really seems worth trying to get into. Just a bunch of junk, glass, pottery, out of stock clothing, shoes no one wants. Either that or they have the prices jacked up so high, there has to be a niche there since they all have it, but I just can't see it.
Frustrating. You can see it.
Well, okay. There's a lot we could talk about here.
Mm-hmm.
And none of it is like, hey, you're a dummy.
Yeah.
None of it's like, hey, you're screwing around. You just need to work harder. None of it's like that.
Yeah.
You're in the game. $6,500 a month as a sole practitioner, where you've got to travel to get inventory. That's all right, but it's probably not enough for you to live the life you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you live. If you're making half that after expenses, that's not enough to live. I understand.
Yeah, I had something. I forget what was it. Yeah, what it was.
So what do you do? Well, I have been in the same shoes, the same place as you several times throughout my buying and selling career, mainly because things change and sometimes you have to change niches, right? Mm-hmm. So at this point, one thing that has to change is your mindset. One thing that you have to know is, even though maybe you're working 50 hours a week and you feel like you're about up to here, you need to realize you are in a position for growth, change, better, because you've got it mastered to that level, and hopefully you're paying your bills, and hopefully you're making it.
Yeah.
So, if you are burnt out, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you are maxed out where you don't have any free time to do any research on any other niches, you don't have any free time to get off the beaten path and go to somewhere else besides estate sales, or try any of the other 20 buying possibilities besides estate sales, that may be a problem. So in other words, if you're on the treadmill and you can't get off at all, it's a little bit like you're working a 60-hour-a-week job and you don't have time to look around. And I understand that, but that's a problem.
Yeah.
So if you can, you need to back off a little bit and stick your head up out of the forest and look at some of the possibilities. It sounds to me like you're closed off to some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
There are many, 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 many different opportunities out there. I mean, I can list them. I think I've done videos on them. I think, I can't think offhand, but I think the one on my main page, the sourcing video you need but don't want to hear, is a good one. So, what's my advice? That's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, I have one piece I'd like to interject in there.
Do it.
Well, let's see. How to find a niche. He said he's having trouble finding a niche they can find enough stuff for.
Sounds like he's in clothing.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the way that I think of niches is the way a niche works best if it's something that you really have an interest in, if you have a passion for it, if you really know a lot about this thing, you want to know more about it, and you like this kind of stuff. So think of things that you like, think of hobbies that you'd like to have, and then figure out where in the world can I find this stuff?
And start there.
That's it. I mean,
Okay.
like, think through, if you have 4 different things, I mean, think them through. What could possibly there? That could be at least one starting point.
Now, you like cameras.
Mhm.
I really, really, really don't want to give away all our places that we found and bought cameras. But I can guarantee
Think
you...
outside the box.
I can guarantee you that we have bought cameras from 10 distinct venues over the years.
I could tell some interesting stories too.
Well, yeah.
Like, we've walked into a small town grocery store and asked the guy, hey, do you have any cameras, or know where the guy locally is who has cameras? That can be a technique, first of all. But secondly, we walked into the grocery store. This dude said, oh yeah, I was the town photographer back in the 80s. Here's my camera setup. Of course, he wanted too much for it, but we were able to get him some tips and whatever. I'm just saying, like, well, we'll go into almost anywhere. We'll get a jewelry store and buy cameras from the owner there. I mean, the jewelry store owner has an expensive camera he bought in Vietnam in the 80s, and there you go. So, I mean...
Well, so, okay, so
just,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Expand your options.
So, let's... I'm not sure what your niche is. If your niche is general merchandise, I'll give you one thing that people do. If you're going to estate sales... why not start handing out and handing out a business card? I buy estates. Why don't you be the estate buyer? Run a cheap classified ad. I buy estates. I buy it all. Let me give you. I don't even know how to do estates.
Yeah.
There are people that buy and sell estates on YouTube you can watch, but the point is there are a lot of different ways to buy certain things. So you talked about wanting to have a niche, so I guess they probably are general.
Yeah. They are general, and they're looking for something more specific that they can really dig into and have a
What
market.
are you interested in,
Yeah.
I'll give you this. When we started buying cameras, it really more at that point was cameras and electronics. Okay? We can tell this story.
Yeah.
Cameras and electronics, so things like GPSs, and what else do we used to get?
I don't know, iPods. I mean,
iPods,
PDAs, like Palm TXs. I mean, back when those used to be $80. Like game consoles.
Okay, so here's the example. We used to buy from this website online, these pawn stores in Atlanta. And we would get some cameras, but along with it, you would order a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, the funny thing is, you sift through the site. Let's say they have 1,800 items listed on this pawn, crazy conglomerate site, whatever. You have to find the what would it be called? The rift. You have to find the rift. The ones that are priced under market for some reason or another. I mean, they have a lot of stuff listed on there. A lot of it's priced at market. A lot of it's priced just below market. And then there's that rift. There's, let's say, 15 items listed at any current time that you can make 5 times your money on. And that's what we tried to buy. And we buy anything in that rift. I mean, I'd look up PDAs, GPSs, and we bought a box. We basically just buy this big box full. It shows up, it's a big box full of random stuff. Digital cameras, GPS units, all this kind of stuff. And they didn't have good pictures. They have good descriptions. You didn't know if it was working or not. I mean, you just throw it on the cart. It's $5, $10, $15 for the stuff, and you hope it turns out. And it did. I mean, that was...
I think after doing that a while, we settled on our niche of cameras. So I think our niche was wider to start with.
Oh, yeah.
And then we narrowed it in. So
we did start sort of in the general merchandise field.
There are just... Okay, so we're in a similar situation where we started to do our 100-mile radius around here physically, and there wasn't enough stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, we were going to grocery stores and jewelry stores. I mean, we were going everywhere.
Yeah, so we had to go out and buy pallets of stuff from the internet, on eBay, on other sites. We ended up going into a bigger city near us, Denver, and went to the flea market and thrift stores and other kinds of stores until we found some things. Then we started to go in other directions. I mean, we kept our main thing going, but we never stopped exploring.
Yeah.
And we did find a niche. We did find the camera niche. But for you, it might be something else.
Yeah.
We can't tell you because we go to other parts of the we go to other parts of the country and camera stuff is not available.
Exactly, and that's interesting. But okay, so one last thing. Here was what kickstarted our business. Here was the craziest thing. I mean, nobody, you think, okay, you're selling on eBay. You're not going to be able to find deals to resell on eBay. And that's where we kickstarted the camera business. It kind of went from the air purifier thing. We used to buy lots of air purifiers. You look on Craigslist, you look on whatever. We looked on eBay for camera lots. We went at auction. You look for the camera lots where it's a ton of stuff. You can't see in the pictures exactly what it is. You can pick out 10 pieces, like a storage auction practically.
It was like a
buying the
storage
stuff.
auction.
And we lucked out. We got a $2,500 lot of camera stuff. It showed up on a pallet. We sold that stuff when it was all said and done for how much do you think? I mean,
20,000.
Yeah, at least. I mean, it was a lot. It was a great. And the thing is, it wasn't only just a good profit. It was a lot of experience, a lot of learning, and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that was
a lady went to a storage auction and she bought out an old camera store.
Or is her dad?
She didn't know much about the camera stuff, and she just put it on eBay, and of course cameras are pretty heavily people go after them, and so she took some pictures of some of the stuff, and it was a pallet of like 15 boxes or 20 boxes, and it went for a bunch of money. In fact, that you remember how on edge we were about bidding on that thing? I mean, it was like the bidding just went up and up and up. And, and towards the last 6 hours, I had to look at that and I had to go, all right, this is the absolute most. We won it.
Barely. Yeah, that was lucky.
We want it, but we absolutely, this is as high as we're going to go. And we put the top bid with auction sniper on it. And it was like at $1,200, and when it was all said and done, it went to like 28 or whatever. And we sniped it, and then we're like, we got it, and then we're like, holy crap, we got it. And then
there were a lot of items in there too.
Well, it showed.
It was a whole introduction to rare stuff, weird stuff, camera stuff in general. But basically my point on this is, let's say we bought 20 lots early in the days, and I think this was our biggest break. After the pawn thing, we went into buying camera lots on eBay, and we don't do it anymore, so that's why I'm talking about this now. It's an interesting story at this point, which it's not that you couldn't do it on other things, but anyway.
You could do it on other things.
You could. So we bought 20 lots. Let's say 3 of those were like huge lots, like crazy. This was really crazy lots, and the other ones were smaller. I mean, we bought like $200 lots that we flipped for $1,000 plus, whatever. I mean, it was good learning experience stuff. But my point is that you can buy from anywhere. That was the biggest thing.
Here's something else that came to mind.
Can't be limited by location, other things. I mean, certain niches, it doesn't work because it's too big to ship, etc.
So here's another way to reverse engineer it. If I was to look at other areas that I wanted to buy and sell in, here's what you do. Let's say it's golf equipment. Okay? Here's what you need to do. One way to do it, go on eBay, search around on golf equipment, start tracking and finding the top 20 sellers. Start reading their auctions online. Start looking for little hints and tips, because they will give them to you. They'll say, I got this at a storage auction. I bought a store out. It'll be right in their ads. You can ask them questions worded properly to find out. But within that niche, if it's big enough and there's 20 good sellers and you want to get in that niche, you start studying those 20 people, you'll reverse engineer and start figuring out first what's available and what they're selling often, and then you should be able to figure out where you can start looking for that. So part of finding out another niche is figuring out what you really want to do. I mean, everybody that watches us, they think for either a minute or longer, hey, I'd like to be like them. I'd like to be in the camera business. But you don't have to be in the camera business. We're not saying don't be in the camera business. We're just saying you better be passionate about it. So pick something you're passionate about.
And that's exactly what I'm saying,
And then reverse engineer it.
Exactly.
And or print a business card. I buy whatever the big niche is, and start asking people, do you know where this stuff is? Who's into this? Who collects this? Where is it?
So hopefully this whole rant thing, hopefully you got something out of it. And I guess basically the whole deal is if you want to get into something, first of all, figure out what that is. And let's say you do this process on 4 different things, and hopefully out of one of those 4 you'll find what you're looking for as far as a niche. Reverse engineer it. Figure out, like I said, I could write down 300 different places where you could buy camera stuff. Think outside the box. I mean, don't limit yourself to flea markets, don't limit yourself to garage sales, don't limit yourself to pawn shops. I mean, you have to think, there's so many different places these things end up. Think outside the box, reverse engineer it, and investigate what sells in that market, what's the highest lowest, how much demand there is for this, is this really something that's sustainable, and something that other people have a track record of doing well.
And I guess after reading your question, one other thing I would do is work on you and your attitude. I'm not saying you have a bad attitude. I realize where you're at, but realize you understand how to buy and sell. You already have things that you're buying and selling. You're after a better deal. You're way ahead of the people that aren't even in the game.
Exactly. Everybody gets caught in a rut at some point, and you have to pull yourself out of it. The thing is, you just have to, most of the time, it's just down to thinking differently. Take yourself out of your current mindset, and don't take yourself completely out. I mean, keep doing what you're doing, but then start putting a little bit of brain power to what can I do differently that's going to change where I'm at right now.
And then the other thing you're going to have to look at, I just made a video on this. There's only so much you can do as a one-person shop. And so at some point, you're going to have to learn how to delegate and bring on some help.
Yeah, it does help.
$6,500 a month gross sales for a single person with all the stuff that you have to do as a single person, that's not too bad. We've leveraged that in 2+ people, so we're able to do $20,000+ a month. But there is some advantage to having more people. So
yeah, it also does depend on your profit margin, obviously, on the $6,500.
Sure.
And fees and
Sure.
There are expenses there, obviously, but
were we listening to Devo?
No, never.
Are we not spuds?
We are Devo.
D-E-V-O.
Yeah.
Somebody caught me listening to my Devo.
They're building a whole new world around us. A whole new world without us.
Oh my gosh.
I like the Devo stuff, man. Their lyrics are really good.
Yeah, those guys are thinkers.
Yeah, I like their instruments too. I'm really into the oddball, weird instruments and stuff, and that fits right in. That's pretty awesome.
I wonder if Wheeler could use the box of lens caps for the camera bodies and lenses he lists just for the added protection.
I wonder where the box of lens caps. It just never worked out. I mean, we've had so many. At one point, we were buying lens caps to put on lenses and stuff. It got to such a point where it's just too much volume and too much variety in the sizes of lenses and lens caps.
How many lenses and lens caps are there?
I was going to say there's probably 700 varieties, including rear lens caps and all different sizes of front lens caps for that. So that's enough. I mean, I bet you probably only use commonly, these are the ones we were buying, about 50 of them, 50 to 100. But still, it's just too much to stock. And if you have a big, giant total lens caps, finding the right one is a pain, and it's difficult to do. So it's not super realistic. And of course, I'd say out of that big total lens caps, 10% of those are super usable, and you're going to use all of them. And the other 90% are going to be those ones that are discarded from the ones that aren't that common. So.
What happened? We used to call you the puzzler.
Yeah.
Of course, you do Rubik's Cubes.
Well, that's funny. It came full circle. I never even thought about that. That's cool.
Maybe we could.
It did come full circle.
Maybe we could get rid of your Rubik's Cubes, and we could do the puzzler with the lenses and the lens caps.
Yeah.
That's as rewarding.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. So we've been around the whole lens cap route, I guess.
Dealer, just a thought. Instead of throwing out some stuff, sell a junk box of camera stuff on Mercari. Cheap shipping, and maybe another reseller could sell it that had time to deal with it. Well, we have actually thought about being buyers and somehow wholesaling stuff out to people, but
our junk box isn't worth much to 99.99% of people.
Yeah, it's worth more to us to hang on to and get to someday than it is just to wholesale it out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who actually sell camera junk lots.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to buy them.
Yeah.
We used to buy.
And we find the 5 pieces out of there that aren't junk.
We used to buy a lot on eBay to sell back on eBay.
Like I was saying, yeah.
No, we used to buy a lot.
Yeah, we did.
We did a couple of years where that was our main source.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got out and we realized that being out was a heck of a lot more fun.
And we found the right locations out that we made way more than
Yeah.
we can make in the cloud.
It's a process.
It is.
It's a process.
Finding stuff was never said to be easy.
My friend, are you currently still running your markdown sales for 2 to 3 days? Or now longer since you wait 14 days to restart the sale? So the new 30-day auctions that I'm running on camera stuff, I have to wait 14 days until I can run markdowns. We kind of answered this, but typically my sales are 2 to 5 days, and I usually start them whenever it's going to start, and I end them sometime that makes sense, like maybe a Friday at noon or a Monday at noon, to kind of get around the shipping time frame ending. I don't know. I like 2 to 5 day cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that answers that. Fossil watches do not have real diamonds.
Wow, really?
Yeah, we learned that one.
I guess that.
You look exhausted. You should take a break.
This is our break. We're on it.
Yeah.
This is a vacation.
So, it's funny. The last time somebody told me that, I think I did the beer mile.
Oh yeah, yeah. After the beer mile, you looked exhausted. You should take a break.
No.
I
I went out and did the beer mile just to show everybody how tough I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
this is like a beer mile. Multiple hours is like a beer marathon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even winded, but I believe in starting with a full, I'm right on the edge of the frame there, with a full tank and running it to empty and then filling it up again. I'm not afraid of working hard. I'm not afraid of taking it to the limit. I'm not afraid of, I really don't like a lot of things about Arnold Schwarzenegger, but one of his quotes from the early days when he was powerlifting, he's like, I am not afraid to work out and puke in my own gym, and then I will work out in my own puke.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Until I have passed out, and then I will hit Franco, and Franco will continue to feed me weights until I puke out again, and then I will drink a shake of energy.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you know what? This is what I do.
Quote.
This is what I do. That was that was the extended version of the Arnold. But
yeah, there you
go. The point is, I try to stay within my limits, and my limits, for whatever reason, are pretty vast. But I get it. I take breaks.
Of course, fossil watches do not have real diamonds. Tell that to our buyers that try to return it.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't come back. Wheeler, what were you thinking?
What did I put in there? I don't know. What's the contest?
Diamond-studded watch.
Well, that's just what they call it.
90 carats.
No.
Pink Panther diamonds all over this watch.
No.
Well, somebody asked us.
Yeah.
I do a daily vlog, and so a lot of the things just end up in the vlog. You know what?
Yeah, I don't know the context of that kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah, just add to it.
Question. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
If Deep State is pressuring the censorship of conservatives on the world's largest platforms like Google, why not eBay and Amazon?
Why not?
Well, that kind of goes along with the idea that the tech owns the world right now. We know who's in charge, big picture. But in the world, the tech owns it. And if you are selling on a platform, you definitely are subject to the will of the platform.
Yep.
So realize that can change on any given day for almost any given reason. Enough said.
Yeah.
We're on the last page.
I know, man. I thought that was the last page, but I didn't notice there was one behind it.
We are like
3 hours in.
It's gonna be like a 4-hour video. A new record, not by choice. You guys keep commenting. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it took Dealer here like an hour to put together the questions just to print all these sheets.
Number one, I live on the East Coast, and you had said that you did some picking when you were in South Carolina last year. Just want to know if you thought the picking was better, worse, or the same as when you pick in the Midwest. Also, if you could comment on where you went picking while you were in South Carolina.
It was the same, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you go to the right flea markets, you find the right places.
I thought it was worse.
Yeah, well, it was worse at first.
It was worse for cameras.
Yeah. I think you still could uncover it. I mean, I think it's still out there.
We didn't crack the code.
Yeah, that was part of it.
We
weren't
really
there for long enough. We weren't trying hard enough to
We
crack
really
the code.
didn't pick a lot. We went to, I can't remember the name of the flea market, and we went back 4 times, and it was fun.
Yeah.
We didn't really crack the code with the thrift stores and the antique stores and all that very well.
Oh yeah, the antique stores were pretty weird there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of the old school antiques. I mean, like glassware and that kind of stuff, and colonial stuff. I mean, just it was a whole different type of stuff. Yeah.
Different mix.
Earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting for sure.
I would say that I would say the Midwest where we're at is better.
Yeah. That's true. Actually, now that I think back to it, I have a bad memory, so I just wasn't over 100% which ones are which. It all kind of blends together.
Not much camera stuff. And the flea market, I would say, and I don't know how to put it any other way, but the quality of stuff was a little less.
Yeah. The thing is, people take pictures everywhere, so I bet you have to crack the code. There's got to be cameras there somewhere. We just weren't there long enough or trying hard enough. I mean, we didn't need more camera stuff. We had to stop playing on the way back, and we were just, we were full out everything. So
mostly on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, it sounds like I love South Carolina on the coast. I love that area.
Yeah.
Okay, 2, 3. I don't know how many questions are. I know that you have said that you do the long highway yard sales like the junk jaunt. I'm wondering if every year you go, is the picking better, worse, or the same? We have one near where I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. And every year it seems like it gets worse. Not as many vendors or the same vendor with the same stuff. We went probably 4 years in a row. And then we didn't go for a year or two.
Yeah.
And we were thinking that it was getting worse. And then we went last year with sort of a new knowledge base and a new attitude, and I think we had a great time.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have to, it's not the same kind of stuff as we can buy elsewhere, but it's also not the same stuff we usually buy, so it's a little bit different. I mean,
our expectations are not quite the same as they used to be. We
can't depend on it for.
We used to feel like we had to fill up the van.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I went and I was looking for bigger dollar items,
mm-hmm.
and we found them.
Mm-hmm.
Where other years I would be looking for the $5 item to sell for $40.
Yeah. Do you find that curved porcelain beer sign on that?
That was a couple of years back.
A couple of years back, I know, but yeah.
I bought a curved porcelain Miller sign for $800 and sold it for $1,500.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, we're looking for higher end stuff.
So my advice on that would be find another one near enough by and go.
Yeah, you can't rely on the same one too many years in a row. I mean, that's just how it works.
You will if you do it 4 or 5 years in a row, you will actually go to the same rummage sales, the same places, and many of those will not add a lot of new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the same people, so you got to keep going. Even within our long rummage sale things, we go off and we try to hit different directions.
And here's another way you can think about it. I mean, you go on one of those things, the people recognize you from years before, they know what you're looking for, you start talking to them a little bit. Hey, I'm looking for this, can you bring me some next year?
Well,
Maybe.
that's another long-term thinking
contacts.
is if you're looking for certain things,
I mean, if you need to make it work, make it work.
talk to people. Tell them who you are.
There's more in that town that's at that sale. If the guy at the sale can go and get all the stuff from the town for you next year, then that's great.
So if you're not talking to people, you're only taking what's there. You need to extend yourself into those people's lives a little bit and get some phone numbers. When you find the honey hole, you need to talk to that person a lot. Who's your buddy that has the second honey hole?
Yeah, it's interesting. So like we were talking before about how like you have to have different experiences. Like what if the internet went offline? How would you buy and sell? Could you still buy and sell? All that kind of stuff. So buy like you're in the olden days buying and selling. Like find contacts, find items, figure out how to get stuff, and then sell online. I mean, it's a good combination if you can do that.
Build your Rolodex. Yeah.
Yeah, work old school in some cases.
There is some old school in our game.
Oh, for sure. 100%. 100%.
We just sell online.
Yeah, that's
because
it.
it's the easiest.
We buy
thing.
old school, we sell online. I mean, we're the connector between old school and online, and that's how it.
We don't
where it fits.
have the outlet where we live out in the middle of nowhere.
No, there's no way. Absolutely not. You open the world's biggest camera store in the middle of Kansas. That'd be hilarious.
Have you ever tried charging for shipping on all of your camera items? Did we originally have shipping? I thought we did.
I think we've went through it before a little bit.
I thought we started that way.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think I think to simplify your end of things, your listing, I think we just went to I just said factor it into your.
I don't remember that far back. I mean, that was a long time ago.
I think that's what we did. I think we originally started with shipping, and it was like charts and this, that. And it was just too much hassle because of the difference between priority and first class and all the choices.
Yeah.
I think we just went to price it as if there's shipping in there.
I mean, 8 years ago, I was 11, 12, 13, so I mean...
Right.
It's a little bit too young to get all the whole shipping thing together.
Uline should sponsor you after that tote order.
Oh, sure.
If I was making videos regularly, and by regularly, like I committed to making videos from now regularly for 5 more years, I probably would seek sponsorship deals for this. I'm on again, off again. That's all I can say. I like making videos, but I just can't do it forever. It's not where I make my money. Same happened to me while listing, end of month, 50 free listings. Okay, so we're talking about this glitch. This glitch recently is you put something up for $99, you put sell similar with one of your old listings, sell similar, and you reprice it to $99, and when you press go on the listing, it goes back to $80.
Yeah.
Your old price.
I've completely dissected it. I've heard from some helpful people and been able to dissect it. It's the promotion thing. It was not properly debugged, whatever, at eBay there. Unless you click on the page after you put in the new price, it won't update. If you click on the page anywhere, I mean, you click the shipping box, you click anywhere, you click just blank space on the page, then your price updates, you're fine. If you don't do that, if you forget to do that, if you just reprice, scroll down, click list, it doesn't list.
If you haven't run into the glitch, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If you've run into this glitch where you make a new listing off an old listing and your price doesn't stick, you're saying after you put in the price, do something else or click on the page and it should stick.
Yeah, specifically in the way I work, it's a big issue, but for some people it won't be, for some people it will be.
Towards the bottom of the new listings, there's this promoted listing checkbox. Do you want to be part of the promoting listings? When they put that in, the whole thing...
Yeah, well basically it's linked to that. That thing does not automatically refresh unless that price that you just put in is actually submitted, which would be done by clicking on the page separately. And then you can see the little promoted thing actually updates, so that's how you can confirm that that's the issue there. I don't know. They just didn't put it in 100% correctly.
Tell Wheeler to stay away from those flea market hot dogs. Wreak havoc on your stomach.
We try to eat healthy. We don't eat flea market hot dogs, luckily.
Well, you had some food poisoning this last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
That made it into my video.
Oh, that's true.
Question for Saturday. How do you pack fragile items for shipping? Do you do the box in a box method or box in a bubble mailer, packing peanuts? Okay, so it depends. I'm not going to do a full packing tutorial, but there's fragile items that are heavy. There's fragile items that are light.
Heavy items with fragile parts inside them. I mean, there's all kinds of varieties. Big, light, fluffy items with a big glass plate in the middle that's like heavy and like crushes. I don't know.
You know, I have used box in box. I don't use packing peanuts. I like paper crumpled up. I like boxes. I like these foam pads that I use.
A closed cell foam.
Closed cell foam for shock resistant on camera stuff. I don't package and sell quite as much fragile stuff as I used to. I certainly don't do a lot of glass. I don't do a lot of super large items. I like to do durable items. Mm-hmm. Electronics and camera items, though, I use the closed cell foam, paper, bubble wrap, and then make sure it's not moving around in there, and a good box. I mean, that's about it.
Yep. For the most part, cameras, I mean, there are years, there are bad years and good years, but for the most part, like a camera item can withstand a drop. So, I mean, they're pretty tough. So the shipping isn't like the biggest deal.
I used to sell a lot more large plastic and glass beer signs, and I think the closed cell foam, as well as keeping them from moving around, as well as a box that doesn't flex, a big enough box for what you're shipping, all those things are
certain things like the corners that go on the items and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't get into that as much.
Yeah.
No harm meant with the RC car comment. Question for the Q&A: how many AE1s can you sell in a month? I think that's a retread question.
Yeah.
Getting back to the sorts, we talked about that. If $10 turns into $50 plus, it's great, but where do you call it enough for now? I get it's your niche. 10 to 50, multiple bins. Getting back to the sort. Well, maybe that question has to do with how much do I keep buying. Most of the stuff that I bought at the flea market for me was for me, outside the camera stuff. We did buy some things like the $275 on cameras, probably 20 pieces that we think will be $1,000 retail, maybe more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's more like just, that's a day's listing for you. So it's more like just the fun of the chase.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. And finding a couple of interesting pieces.
So go ahead.
Just looking for a break-off point.
Where do you call enough enough? I don't know. It's a disease.
Yep.
Second, here's the question. Does having the full storage unit offsite weigh on you? I know for me, unlisted inventory is an issue as much as it is a plus when viewed as a savings account for the rainy day. Well, I look at it from this standpoint. Ooh, kick it.
Yeah.
So I'm getting comfortable here.
Yeah.
I actually need to take a bathroom.
Yeah.
But I look at if that inventory in the storage unit is owned by me cash, which is about where I'm at. It is like a savings account. I still need to look at the cost of that storage unit, and I'm starting to look in my community for ways I can bring that closer to me for the same cost, because I do not like that it's 1,000 miles away. I do not like that. However, different situations require outside the box thinking, and it's too good for me to pass up. So I've done the calculations. I've laid in bed at night a couple times and thought it through before I went to sleep. I've done the math, blah blah blah. You have to make those decisions. The idea comes to me once in a while, what if I can't find any more camera stuff? Well, I don't need to worry about that.
Yep.
And then the other idea comes to me, and the real reason I have this stuff up there is I have to keep buying it, otherwise I'm going to lose this contact. And it's such a good deal. It's a blessing and a curse. It's a tiger by the tail. It's a fairly unique situation. I wouldn't recommend it for somebody of weak constitution.
It's a faucet. You can turn it on and off, but in the winter it's going to freeze up if you don't use it all the time. I don't know.
So,
for the quiz analogy,
it does weigh on me. It certainly does weigh on me, and if I could do it a different way, I would. But if I had to do it again, I'd do it again. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it. I'm in it. So I don't know. Dealer, what would be the impact on the family business if Wheeler were to meet a sweet Kansas belle, get married, and move out on his own? We get this question almost every...
I know. This is like the most common... This is like frequently asked questions level.
Must be a lot of ladies looking at you, man.
I don't know. Anybody hit me up?
Wheeler's ready to date.
Yeah, I'm joking, but...
Well...
Why not? Sure.
So, you know, we'll roll with it. Wheeler and I are on daily communication. And so, whatever.
If I move out, all the camera stuff comes with me. I'm still listed over there wherever I move to. I mean,
it might be a blessing.
Yeah, could be better. More office space.
You and your new bell can take it all with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, here's where it's at with me. I like the things the way they are. I know change is inevitable, whether it's small, medium, or large change. Let's just say it's the worst. Let's just say the camera business is dead. I don't have any back stock. I don't have anything listed. Personally, you throw me anywhere and I will survive and start over. I got one of those left in me.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't have to use it.
If I have to use it, I'll use it.
Yeah.
But I think we're in better communication than that.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I'm not too worried. In fact,
not gonna get a wild hair and go to Japan or something.
Well, you know,
that seems ridiculous.
I actually, it doesn't matter to me. I whatever you want, whatever you want to do, and whatever you need to do, I will roll with.
Yep.
Shipping question. Could you please explain how you print a shipping manifest for USPS? Are you printing that before you package your items? After the items are packaged, can you add an item to the list? Print it early in the day? Do you just have to scan separate? Right, blah, 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 blah. I use Endicia, and for the longest time, I would bring packages down to USPS, and they would scan them in individually, and they'd never said anything to me. I didn't even know there was any other possibility. Then one day they said to me, hey, don't you have a scan form thing invoice? I'm like, well, no. And they're like, well, can you bring me one? I'm like, I can't bring you one. I don't know how. And then one day the postmaster, I went through 3 postmasters. The newest, hippest, youngest postmaster must have made the call, and they said, what do you use? And I said, I use Endicia to print my labels. And they're like, okay. And then a couple weeks later, the postmaster sent me an email that said, here's the lady you need to talk to, get hooked up. And they hooked me up with the Endicia printout.
Yeah.
So now I print out a 1-page or sometimes 2 pages once a day. If it goes into the next day, I have to print another one. When I'm done printing for the day, I print the sheet. The next day, when I'm done printing, I print another sheet. Then I bring it down there. What did she call it? Shipping manifest. I use Endicia. It's super easy. Once I got used to using it, I just have to be disciplined. I go down there, I give them a couple totes of packages. I say 1 or 2 sheets. They scan it in, it's in. They would give me a receipt if I wanted to, but I don't even care. I don't get one. Bigger city, you probably would want to get one. I know all my postal people by first name.
Yep.
Q&A question. I've been doing reselling for a good while. We only have 5 questions left.
Yeah.
I'm good. I am good at buying and the selling. I'm good buying. I'm good buying and selling several different categories. I also know there is always more to learn in your trips buying items. What categories of products do you feel are good to expand into?
Any of them. I mean, find one that you like, find one that sells. I mean, here's your checkbox. If it sells, if you like it, if you can find it, buy it.
For the last 5+ years, for the last 5+ years, we've had a category that we've continually grown, continually explored, and then everything else that we did was either in the past and pooping out, like the test strips, or just general merchandise. And so, really, other than maybe like beer signs, which I got into pretty heavily for a while there. I got into the real old, cool tin signs and stuff. I even bought one for $1,500 and sold it for $2,000. But I really haven't looked for another niche.
Yeah, well, that's it. We don't need to.
We don't need to at this point.
I said if you wanted to, you could, though. That's the deal.
Well, I would look on eBay. What is selling? What interests you? And as soon as you find a category that you like, start digging in and finding out who the players are.
I mean, I'd say don't try and buy and sell anvils on eBay, but even then, you can probably buy and sell anvils on eBay.
Anvils,
I mean,
heck yeah.
Just deal with whatever. I mean, shipping weight-wise or whatever I'm talking, like, it doesn't even have to be easy to ship. I mean,
people ship freight.
I know it. That's what I'm saying.
People sell cars.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, it is not limited by anything but what you're willing to research and decide to do.
Well, we
talked about earlier.
I don't think creating a niche is a good idea online. I think finding one you like.
Exactly.
And how many different categories are there on eBay? 50? 50 main categories?
At least, yeah.
50 main categories, and then within those categories, subcategories galore. So find something you like.
Because, I mean, you couldn't make a living buying and selling Rubik's Cubes. But then again, there's 5 to 10 stores in the United States that make a good living buying and selling Rubik's Cubes. The top one, this guy's a Lamborghini, he's a race car driver, he also owns a cubing store, and that's his thing. And I mean, he's made all his money from cubing. He sells them
online, right?
Yeah, well, he buys them from China, he resells them into the United States, has good shipping, all that kind of stuff. So.
But he sells them online, and he probably uses eBay as part of his game.
Yeah.
But not solely. So...
No, he's just
if you want that tight a niche.
I'm just saying, even that tight of niche, it's even possible to do that.
Possible.
There's almost no impossible.
So you do have to think outside the box. If you're only thinking of your neighborhood or buying locally in your local town or even the towns around you, you can buy sight unseen. You just have to be better at it.
Yep.
You just have to realize that you have to get a better price and buy a bigger bulk.
The more knowledge you have about a certain niche, the more advantage you have in that category if that sells and if it's a good market.
A niche should be something you like. And for me to tell you which niches are hot, we're not in the trends. We're really not in the trends.
No.
I mean,
we're in the camera trends, but that's different.
But that's because we're in that
that's what I'm saying.
Niche. So
that's what I'm saying.
We're not in the niche that's going to be hot for the next 2 years. It's
exactly.
We're not like Beanie Babies gone bad.
Beanie Babies gone wrong.
And I don't mean that in a flippant way or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. Do some research. I really don't know what's hot.
Yeah. Here's the deal. We laid out earlier.
Books are still hot.
Books are coming back. Is the deal, and also vinyl.
Records.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Yep.
You want to be in pinball machines? Pinball machines are hot.
Vinyl record players aren't cheap. I mean,
you want to sell shoes? Shoes are hot.
Yep. I mean, there's people who make a huge living in like newer sneakers. They buy them brand new, they sell them over retail, and they make their whole living off that.
There's somebody that sold me the flooring here in my shop.
$1,000.
Interlocking plastic flooring. There's people that make a living. Maybe you're into it.
Yeah.
That might be the niche.
That's what I'm saying. You can do anything.
Yeah, there's too many niches. So yeah, I'm not being flippant about the question. It's just that
if you're passionate about something and you can come up with something, you can come up with a niche that's going to work for you.
I mean, if you're talking buying trips and vintage items that we think are cool. What would I like to buy and sell? I like stuff from my era, like the early 70s, toys, hobbies, models, tin toys to the 80s. I like all that stuff.
Well, like those.
But I can't. I'm not gonna make that my business because I already have a tiger by the tail.
What are those? Like the 4x4 Smashers models? What are those things called? The
Stompers.
Stompers. That's it. Yeah. Like those. I mean, it's just that kind of interesting stuff. Yeah.
So I get enough of that to whet my appetite, but I'm not passionate enough about it to make it my life. Some people buy and sell Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah,
that's their whole thing.
Red lines. I mean, some people restore Hot Wheels and sell them. Old ones.
I even have somebody in my wife's sister's husband had a whole eBay thing around models and parts of models, vintage models. They buy and sell, mod them, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how much money he made. I never even talked to him about it, but he did that and had 1,000 items listed for a long, long time.
Oh yeah.
Don't know if I don't know what kind of money he made, but he was into it. So
that's it. And the more into it you are, the more potential for success you have, if that is a viable niche to make money on.
And it says, do you feel are good to expand into? I just don't know.
Yeah.
We're not into that. I'm not ready right now. We tried to go into watches, and it just nobody wanted.
It just wasn't as good as cameras.
Well, it's too much.
Yeah, more cameras.
You know who that is?
Yeah. Pretty obvious.
If I read that, you'll know who asked this question. I guess I would say as far as reselling, you are right up there as one of my mentors. So I mentioned something that I was going to do a Friday show about mentors at some point here. Who would you say yours is currently and or past mentors? Well, I think it is important to always have mentors. And so currently, who's my mentor?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, I really don't think of anybody. I just learn stuff from everywhere. That's the thing. If anything's my mentor, it's like YouTube or the internet. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to say.
I have looked recently, again, from time to time, on how to expand the business bigger than just a couple people. But then I just fall back and I'm like, all right, I'm comfortable enough. There's a price to pay for making this big organization. I don't want to be like Jeff Bezos of Amazon. I can tell he neglects certain things to do what he does. And I know he's not that great a dude. So, whatever. Okay? Money isn't everything. But mentors... I would have to see being humble, and I'd have to say Jesus and the Bible. That's my best mentor right now. But business-wise, I really don't have one. Now, in the early days, gosh, my professors, the people that taught me problem solving, my mom was an entrepreneur. She taught me that you can, get outside the box and start your own business. My dad taught me a lot of things. I dug into books. Like we mentioned, the E-Myth. There were plenty of others. YouTube sort of is a general mentorship. There's a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and if you listen to enough of them, you can pick and choose the things that can help you. So I'm going to do a program about that. I think if you have a couple areas in your life that really are lacking and they're holding you back, you need to find somebody that's overcome those areas, and whether it's a personal relationship with that person or a YouTube relationship with that person or a book relationship with that person, an idea, you need to bond with that enough where you can overcome those limitations to get to where you want.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I can think in a lot of my hobbies that I have mentors for stuff like photography, scootering, cubing, skateboarding, all that stuff. I have all kinds of people I look up to in that kind of sense, but not really for the camera stuff. I mean, I'm just kind of doing the thing now. I mean, I learn a lot of stuff from the internet. I learn a lot of stuff from YouTube. Otherwise, I'm just kind of heads down working on stuff there. So,
Well, business-wise, I don't think I've achieved everything I want to achieve, but instead of going up personally right now in my business, I'm going out.
Yeah.
And it's to my family and to my kids, and that's a whole different thing. So I don't know, and again, I don't want this to be weird or anything, but I am not, as in business-wise, I'm really not looking at mentors as much as I think I am the mentor.
Yeah.
I'm the teacher.
I agree.
And if I turned that corner, that's where I'm at. And in reality, I still absorb a lot of stuff out there every day from every situation.
Absolutely.
But it's not really a specific, I just don't feel green anymore. I feel grown. And, I don't know.
Yeah, and that sort of fits into my hobbies thing. I feel green in a lot of other areas, but for the camera stuff, I mean, I found my rut. I'm in the rut now. I'm not really trying to expand out. I'm not trying to improve that much. I mean, I'm learning stuff every day, but it's not quite like I'm green, like you're saying.
I'll do something on mentors here. I'm really comfortable in my skin. I'm really comfortable in my skin, not from the sense of I don't push myself every day to get done what I need to get done. It's not that I don't push myself into some new areas from time to time. I'm just really comfortable. Maybe that's not all good.
Yeah.
I better go out and run my beer mile.
There you go. Right now.
I'm trying to break 10 minutes.
Right now, you're gonna try.
Right now, no. Well, if I could use those 3 beers towards it.
Yeah.
2 questions for you guys. Last 2 questions.
Yeah.
No, 3 questions.
Wow.
2 questions. Since condition of cameras and lenses are so subjective, and it is, do you accept returns on everything, or do you have some criteria you use to make it as is parts repair? I just get burned all the time from nitpickers, especially with cameras. Okay, so that's a good question. Do you ever return items to your sources, guys at the flea market, etc., if they're deemed broken upon taking them home?
Nope.
Okay, second question first. I never return stuff to people, but I do have people I deal with once in a while. And if it gets down to the nitty-picky negotiations, I know some of them so well, I'll say, you know what? When I took this home from you, it didn't work out quite as I planned. So you're going to have to give me this part of the deal to make up for that. And then they'll usually come back and say, yeah, right. But you remember that thing I sold you? I found out it was worth twice as much. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's part of the negotiation.
It's part of the negotiation. So I don't crap on my dealers. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
We win a lot more than we lose. First question, conditions is subjective for cameras and lenses.
Better than anybody else.
Well, that is part of the camera game. And if you want to be really good at the camera game, you got to learn how to put the right verbiage on the condition. And no matter what, you're going to run into people that are really picky and people that aren't so picky. And there is a dance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, cameras are originally expensive. They are complicated. They're machines. I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong with them, and a lot of small things that can either be a big deal or can be nitpicky, depending on.
We will put parts or whatever. We will put red text. Here's the defects.
I'll describe something in 15 lines.
It still doesn't matter. You'll still end up taking some returns on things because people are buying on their phone. People aren't reading. People are a different language. And so we end up taking returns on everything. But the percentage is low enough where it doesn't matter. But you have to have your game high enough to be able to handle all that. Because I can see if your camera game is not sharp enough, you will have to go through that.
And we did. We've been through it all.
The camera game is not an easy one.
Breaking was hard.
The camera game is not an easy one. Last question, do you guys offer free return shipping? If so, has your return rate increased? How do you deal with recent markdown manager limitations? Okay, so those are 2 questions. I'm going to answer them quickly. I think we offer free shipping. Has it changed anything?
I mean, we've been offering the whole time. I think
we started with 10-day returns and went to 20, and now it's 30. I think we went to the free shipping returns. Returns are returns. It's still the same percentage. We get a few people trying to mess with us, but very few. It's just part of the business. You do have to control it, but a lot of times I think if it's too bad, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a blunt answer. So you gotta.
eBay is different than old school businesses in a lot of cases for that reason.
You got to look at all sides of it, but a lot of times
To sharpen your game.
A lot of times you got to sharpen your game. So I don't think it's changed much.
You have to be as critical as the buyer when you're listing something.
And a lot of that is sharpening your buying
Mm-hmm.
and your sorting and what you list and what you don't and how you list it. That's just too much to get into. How do you deal with your recent markdown manager? I think we've talked about that.
Yeah.
I've changed my listings to 30-day, and when they won't let me put a sale on there, I just ride it out, and when they will, I run a sale.
Yep. Wow. Woo! Woo! Ah, man, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I need another beer. Unwind time.
Yeah.
This wasn't the unwind, was it?
No.
Okay, 22. What are we at? Oh,
12 past 12.
This video is a 4-hour video-ish.
That's crazy.
Well, I'm going to state this for you people, all you people, all you viewers, all you people.
All you people that watch my stuff.
I don't mean that.
There's some people with funny comedy channels who they'd spin that funny.
I don't mean that in any way.
Yeah.
All you viewers, well, if you're offended by that, you probably
you shouldn't be here at the end
probably
of the video.
didn't make it this long. But anyway, all you people that have made it this far, I will just say this. We're going to run videos until the end of Momentum, which is the end of September. And then there will be some sort of a break, short or a little longer. That's just the way it's going to be because it's been a long haul for me. So I'm announcing that here. I'm going to keep making videos a couple more weeks, and then there will be a break of some sort. So I'm just softening the blow. If it turns out to be a couple months, it's a couple months. If it turns out to be a couple days, whatever.
If you don't take a break, that's great.
I may not even take a break. It's really subjective.
I just upload vlogs, whatever. I mean, who knows what my schedule is.
I mean, look, name another picker channel that puts as much up as I do. There aren't many. There are a few, maybe. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I go in streaks. I can't do it once a week. I do it in streaks. I do it all or nothing.
Yep.
So, thanks for watching. Add your comment below. What's the secret phrase for
that's what I was trying to come up with.
We made it all the way through.
I don't know.
All right, it's
it's got have orange in it. It's got to have like a color and
the secret phrase is I like to take underwater pictures.
Cool.
I like to take underwater pictures. I enjoyed the show. I made it to the end.
Yeah.
I like to take underwater pictures.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. From Wheeler, Dealer,
and Dealer.
Pick well, list often. We're out of here. Woo!
Hey, Wheeler.
Dealer Production.